Let's do this the right fucking way now, huh? After a small technical difficulty, we are live, man! That's what happens when you update your PC and then let your cats in the goddamn office. I ain't going anywhere, man. And neither are you. Who else are you gonna watch? Huh? Tonight was a major Dynamite show. Plenty to talk about. Shaquille O'Neal was on the show tonight. Sting was on the show tonight. The Dynamite Diamond Ring was on the line tonight. And the champ, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Did he have any new information tonight after his appearance on Impact? We're going to talk about that. You may be disappointed. And Abadon made an appearance on Dynamite tonight. We're going to go over it all, plus your Sting news and rumors. Will he be wrestling for Tony Khan and AEW? Jesse and I are live. This is the #1 podcast in the IWC. This is Off the Script. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Off the Script. I apologize again for the technical difficulties. Mr. Professional Streamer over here, #1 guy in the fucking community over here. I can't get my shit right. Yeah, I know. Listen, bro, listen. If you give me a problem, you better put your fucking hoodie on, bro. I'm going to call Thunder Rosa up, bro. She's going to put you in the most dangerous chokehold that I think I could possibly ever conceive of. Stop. Okay?
Show no fear.
Okay? Okay.
Rubble like I'm scared of Thunder Rosa.
Yeah,
no fear.
yeah, you are. I know you are. You shit your pants last week. I know.
Please
That's information you didn't tell. That's information you didn't tell anybody. Anyway, we're not here. Listen.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
I cleaned it up, man.
Okay. Listen, go play your PlayStation 5. Okay? I don't need you here.
Whatever, man.
Anyway, all joking aside, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties, man. I don't know. I updated my PC, and when you leave the fucking office door open and you got cats literally jumping on your desk, something was fucked up here. So I apologize. I'll blame it on Bacardi and Bailey. Okay, so all the heat is off of me. Anyway, thank you guys so much.
Drinking. Yeah, sure.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah, that's what you were drinking when you messed up the computer.
Listen, bro, I don't drink on work evenings. I'm a responsible human being, okay? What do you think I am, Bruce? Bruce is the one drinking before Right and Raw. I mean, look at the shit that we get on Monday night. It's got to be the fucking reason. Anyway, again, sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. People were texting me and frantic, like, what's going on? You all right? I'm good. I'm good. And so are you guys. You ain't going anywhere. I mean, who else are you going to go watch, man? You're going to go support Wrestle Geeks? Give me a break, man. You ain't going anywhere. Again,
be right here.
Right here, man. We got a lot to talk about. And it was a big show tonight. A lot was promoted for this show, Jesse, and we will get into all of it. I want to I want to build up to it. I want to lead up to it. You know, Kenny Omega being the AEW World Champion. He was on Impact last night. I will give my thoughts on that. You will give your thoughts on that. Tonight, Dynamite was an absolutely stacked show. And Tony Khan, he wanted to really build off what we seen last week with Sting. Did they do a good job as far as the follow-up goes to last week? Did they do a good job at building on the hype that last week created? It was unbelievable last week, so much so that I was just so excited to see what they would do leading up to tonight and into tonight. Did they have a great follow-up, or did they do too much tonight on Dynamite?
Nah, I don't think it was a good follow-up, man. I really don't. Maybe you're right. Maybe they tried too much, but to me, it just felt like the show that they just tried to do a lot, but at the end of it, really think about it, I mean, what really happened? What did they really get done? It's like they touched on every storyline that they told us they were gonna have some kind of not conclusion, but some kind of rounding of the corner, if that makes any sense. But it just seemed like they kept going straight. I don't think like we have any difference from what if I completely missed this show and saw last week, I don't think I'd be missing too much.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I was looking at the card before tonight's show, and I said to myself, I'm like, man, there's a lot on this show. I hope they can have it flow good and just have it really feel good over the 2 hours. I hope they're not doing too much. You know, I honestly think everything else was a backdrop, to be completely honest with you, behind the Sting speaking for the first time on AEW television, which we'll get into, and then the Kenny Omega situation, which everybody is talking about, and I got news on. And then the Inner Circle stuff, which has always been a very intriguing aspect of the show, especially since they recruited MJF into the ranks of the Inner Circle. I don't know how I feel at the end of this show. It wasn't a bad show by any means. It was very entertaining, but I do think that in my own way, for me to tell you guys, I feel like AEW kind of unloaded last week. And I think with the last couple of weeks of the year, they're pretty much going to take it easy. They're going to tease you. They're going to, give you a little bit, but not give you too much. You're going to see a rinse and repeat promo like you've seen tonight from Don Callis and Kenny Omega, just to kind of continue to build that intrigue. They know where they're going. They know where they want to go. They know that this is the slowest time of the year for pretty much everything. Everything kind of stops and slows down with Christmas and New Year's, and then everybody goes back to business, following January 1st. So I do feel like they're giving you, but they're not giving you too much, and they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the long-term storytelling. I don't mind the build-up. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for things like that, but it just feels like that we were promised more than what we got.
Yeah.
They touched on things, but they didn't give us anything. I mean, like, okay, Sting came out to address. What do we know more now than we knew last week about Sting?
Nothing. And that's part of the reason why I liked it so much, because we heard him. That was the whole point of that entire segment. We heard him speak. He was on Dynamite in the get-up. His gimmick was there. We seen him physically on TNT. He spoke. He sounds fantastic. He was in the ring with Cody. So, with him being out there and him pretty much being excited to be with AEW, again, rehashing that he was signed to a multi-year deal with AEW, he didn't want to reveal what he was going to do. But the tease in that entire situation is when he looked up at Darby in the rafters holding the TNT championship. Just by that, there's a whole slew of questions behind that. We don't know. I don't want Sting to come out on TNT tonight and tell me why he's there. I don't give a shit if he's going to wrestle or not, but the fact that he's not revealing his cards just yet is great business. That's just the way I see it.
I guess that's the way to look at it, but the way I look at it, we got the teasing last week. I don't want to hear what he sounds like. I've been watching Sting wrestle and listening to him cut promos for years. I know what he fucking sounds like, and we saw him in the get up, and we saw him do the stare down. Now it's time for some explanation. He just came out and did what he did last week, spoke a few words and left.
Well, listen.
I'm not here to hear him talk. He's not a fucking orator. He's not a great speaker. Look, why are you here? But you told us that you were going to explain to us why you're here. Now we still don't know why you're here, and you came out, talked, and left.
Well,
you could just stay off TV.
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into all that. We're gonna get into what he said to Cody. We're gonna get into if he's wrestling or not. There was a news article released by Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated today that documented that Sting is going to be in some capacity back in the ring, doing something, doing what, we don't know. We're gonna go over it. We're gonna go over our opinions on Kenny Omega, what he said on Impact, what I thought of Impact last night, and what I thought of Don Callis and Kenny Omega following up, if you even want to call it that, on Dynamite tonight. And we're going to go over MJF and Sammy Guevara, what this means for the inner circle moving forward. Again, thank you guys so very much, man. We are back over 1,000 on the live stream. Thank you so very much. Hoop Media is in the chat, taking care of business. As always, Hoop Media, let me know, even with the hiccup, Hoop Media, if we were number one. I know Hoop Media was very concerned about what was happening tonight. And they were, they know I get very frustrated when things don't go my way, man. I'm a slight perfectionist here. So Hoop Media is back in business in the chat, doing their thing. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, at JD from NY2. Well, still look at it. We're still number one, man. And you too, Jesse, Hoop Media says. So there you go, Jesse. No. You're number one, too.
I'm always number one.
And you're number one. You're number one in Thunder Rosa's hit list.
Look, man.
At
I'm not
JD,
scared of Thunder Rosa.
At JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Guys, last week we did so great. Let's try and duplicate that. We are on our way to 120,000 subscribers. We are less than 100 away, folks. If you guys can help me get there, it would be fantastic to end the evening on that high note. Make sure you guys hit up the Patreon page. Go and get yourself one of these great-looking baseball bat beer mugs with the off-the-script logo right on them, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Not only that, but you're going to get the Are We Live exclusive t-shirt as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Hit that thumbs up, guys. We are at 300 likes. Let's try for 750 before we get out of here tonight. So that is on you guys. Great way to help the show is by hitting that thumbs up. Super chats are open. If you guys want to get your super chats on in, Jesse and I will be hanging out at the end of the show. And as always, today's show is sponsored by my great friends. We have become very good pals, man. Dr. Squatch is sponsoring the show tonight. DrSquatch.com. Make sure you guys don't smell and feel like a wrestling generic slob that most of the community looks like and feels like. Definitely, DrSquatch.com. Use code SCRIPT at checkout. You guys are going to save mega money, 20% off. You could even use it with whatever promotional codes they are giving you on the site right now, man. So it's going to be 20% off whatever they are giving you, drsquatch.com. Go and get the cold brew bar soap, man. You'll never look back. You'll never look back. The next one I'm trying is grapefruit IPA. I'll let you guys know how that one is. Maybe this one would end up like the cold brew, man. Like the cold brew, I felt like I wanted to eat it instead of fucking bathe in it. The IPA, man, you speak my language when you're putting beer into soap and it's all organic. Oh, man. Speak my language there, man. So drsquatch.com, that is code script at checkout for 20% off. Jesse, we're going to start at the top. Couple of important news and notes for Dynamite here. There will be a preempted Dynamite. Not sure if you guys are aware of this. Preemption of Dynamite. Future episode of Dynamite. This is coming on December 23rd. And there is an NBA game or two on that night with the start of the season. And I do think that Dynamite will be airing at the end of that specific game on TNT. So it looks like on December 23rd. I'm not sure if you even care, Jesse, if you even want to join me on the 23rd. I know what I will be doing. I will probably be watching NXT that night and then reviewing NXT on the channel because I'm not watching Dynamite from 10 or 10:30 to 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, then coming on here and doing a live stream. If anything, I'll watch Dynamite that same night and then do a live stream on that Thursday to go over Dynamite. But there is a preempted Dynamite coming on December 23rd because of the NBA season restarting up on TNT. I don't know why they just don't move to TBS, but that is not really none of our concern or my concern, your concern. But just to let you guys know, there is a preempted Dynamite coming up on December 23rd.
They're probably running games on TBS as well.
Yeah, more than likely. I don't know how big they're going in with the season on TNT or how many people are interested in the season. I don't know, but that's their bread and butter. TNT's known for that every single year. And AEW is just going to have to, or the fans rather, I should say, are going to have to deal with it. So you ain't missing anything. Again, this is the slowest time of the year, and you all know one on TNT with Tony Khan. Come January, they're gonna hit it hard anyway because they got a pay-per-view to build towards the end of February. So you all know that Tony Khan's going to take care of you. A couple of weeks here are not going to be the end of the world for your viewing habits. Now, with Dynamite tonight, we started the show off like an old WCW show, Jess. We got that high octane, that high flying, super exciting, just really setting the tone for the entire show type of match. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson versus the Hybrid 2. This is Jack Evans and Angelico. This was a wild match to start the show on Dynamite tonight. And the one thing going into this match was if the Hybrid got a win on television and pinned the AEW Tag Team Champions in this non-title match, they would be in line for a future title shot on a future episode of Dynamite. Now, that sounds oddly familiar to what WWE does every single pay-per-view with the Tag Team Champions or champion, no matter who they are, losing on television to a contender of their choosing, leading up to whatever pay-per-view they're holding, and that champion loses on TV, and that challenger gets a title shot at the pay-per-view. Thank God we did not see that on this episode of Dynamite with the Young Bucks getting the victory here over TH2. What'd you think of this stipulation going in, and was it a little predictable going into this match?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was very Monday Night Raw-esque.
This was, bro, listen, I'm going to have to stop you there. You used Monday Night Raw and perfect in the same sentence. I mean, you accused me of drinking alcohol, bro. Are you all right there?
I'm reading my fucking notes. I'm telling you what I saw. I saw them trying to do their best WWE impression and mock the way that they booked their show, so they mocked them in the same way. And I thought it was perfect. I mean, I'm sure that must be the reason why they did this, right?
Well, so you're saying the Young Bucks took influence from Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were throwing jabs at Bruce, and Vince. I thought that was good stuff. That must be the reason.
Listen, if it comes to fruition that they are taking a jab at Bruce, then I don't know. I like the Young Bucks even more after that.
That's how I choose to look at it, so I can continue to enjoy what they did.
Okay, so what you're saying is you didn't like the stipulation.
Hey, I thought it was perfect for what they were trying to do.
All right, well, this match wasn't perfect, but it was very athletic. It was very crazy. Like I said, set the tone. Almost like an old school WCW Cruiserweight match back on Nitro. But they opened the show with this match, non-title. There was a situation at ringside early in this thing where the Acclaimed, they were sitting at ringside and Matt landed a frog splash on Angelico for a 2. So the Bucks powerbombed Evans onto the Acclaimed at ringside, which broke down this match. TH2 regained control with some of their flashy combination offense. Springboard 450 by Evans for a near fall. Matt escaped a buckle bomb attempt and ran Angelico into an enziguri from Nick. Bucks then hit a doomsday device on Jack Evans on the ramp, followed by stereo super kicks on Angelico for a close near fall. They tried to follow up with more bang for your buck, but Angelico got his knees up, and Evans hit a poison rana, followed by a 450 on Nick to the floor. In the ring, Angelico locked in his death roll on Matt, and Evans tried to run interference here, but Nick broke up the submission with a senton. Buck set up for a Meltzer driver, but Evans broke it up. Evans went for a big move. He went for a Fosbury flop, but the Bucks caught him, and they killed him with the Meltzer driver on the floor, which pretty much took him out of the match. Angelico surprised Matt with a cradle, but the Bucks caught him with thrust kicks and then followed with the BTE trigger for the win. And the Bucks win in this non-title match. Thank God they didn't go the WWE route here. And I figured they would not. After the match, the Acclaimed tried to attack the Young Bucks as they were celebrating in the ring. They jumped the barricade, wanted to get involved, but SCU ran out to make the save and stop the attack by the Acclaimed. So, Jesse, it looks like we're getting the Acclaimed, and they're going to be given a small and steady push up until the Young Bucks. It looks like they are the next in line to feud with the Young Bucks here. Obviously, FTR is always going to remain in contention because I think they are the best tag team in the world right now, no matter if the Bucks are champions or not. But the Acclaimed, they have a match with SCU next week. I assume they beat SCU, and they are going to get a match with the Young Bucks on a future episode of Dynamite. What do you think of that? And are you looking forward to these two young guys get in the ring with both Matt and Nick?
I'm looking forward to everything the Acclaim does because I like everything about them. I like how they started off. I like seeing how green that they were. I like seeing them come to form. They're coming to form, at least in front of me, because I've been watching them since they were on Dark. They're coming to form in the ring and on the mic. Like they are slowly getting better each and every single time I see them, which is great. I love seeing talent grow right before me. You know, it's much better than putting somebody in front and then say, hey, this guy's a big star. I'm like, all right, I guess he is because you say so. But then you get somebody who you watch who was not a big star and you watch them progress, then you're invested in that guy. So I'm behind the Acclaim 100%, man.
Well, so is Tony Khan. I would assume that with them getting the match with SCU next week and not really going right after the Bucks just to kind of showcase them, I would assume that A, Tony Khan is very high on them, and B, it looks like they are absolutely a part of the, I would say, main roster of Dynamite now in the tag team division, being that they have this match scheduled next week with SCU.
It's only good things. I would say that they are too, but I had people in that chat telling me earlier about patience and how it being a virtue and everything else because I just didn't like the way that Sting came out and did nothing. But let me ask you this. What's the point of having a rating system if you can randomly just give anybody you want a match and say if you win this, then you're number one contender? What's the point of the records and the ratings and the stats meaning real things? Why not just I'm sensitive every day?
I think we're back. Again, guys, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
There we go. We're good. Here we go.
Yeah,
YouTube, man.
Yeah, guys, again, that's beyond my control. I don't know what happened. Apparently, OBS had disconnected. This has been happening for the last couple of weeks. I don't know. I might have to look into it. I might have to reach out to that customer service. But it looks like we're back. Back. Jesse, the last thing that you said was the ratings, or the rankings, rather, in AEW.
Yeah.
What's the point of the rankings if you're just going to give a tag team a shot at your champions and hoping that they win, and then getting a title shot? It kind of defeats the purpose of the entire ranking system. So go over the last point that you made after the stream had cut out there briefly.
Yeah. So if you're just gonna do that, I mean, it completely undermines everything that you ran. Like, you ran this campaign of AEW on statistics and on this and on that. But then a year into it, now we're just throwing matches out to champions or to challengers whenever they want, and we're going the WWE route. I mean, I think it's a slippery slope, and I think it's something that you probably don't want to venture down, because that leads to the next time of people getting number one contender shots other than the traditional way of which you told us, which was earning it and through records. So if I'm to be patient with Sting and waiting for this big reveal, why is Khan not being patient with teams like the Acclaim and things like that, when or TH2 and everything else? Why are we jumping the gun? Why are we giving these guys potential number one contender shots when they didn't go through the rankings like they were supposed to? If it's possible for someone to just get a number one contender shot through another way, then why do we have this ranking system?
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. The only thing I could come up with possibly about that, and I agree with you, what's the sense of a ranking system if you're going to do something like that? It really doesn't fit into the entire mold or mentality that AEW had built up for itself with that whole, sports-orientated type of direction. But maybe they just wanted to be different. Maybe the Bucks wanted to be different. Maybe they wanted to use this as a way to elevate TH2 and the way the Young Bucks maybe thought about it, instead of having them go through a bunch of rudimentary formulaic matches with, teams at the bottom of the barrel in AEW. Let's get them in the ring with the Bucks. Let's really showcase what these kids can do in there against the tag team champions, and they might be more over for it in the end if we just kind of just go up there and just, go for the home run immediately,
Look, the Bucks need to work, all right? So just because they're not having a title match doesn't mean that they're not wrestling. They don't only face number one contenders. They can have this match with TH2. And at the same time, but this stipulation doesn't have to be on the line. How about you respect the ranking system and still have the match? How about you give them the match and say, hey, if you win this match, then you'll double your spot in the standings. We'll count it as double the points or something like that. We're not going to completely obliterate our system, but you'll go further than you would on any other normal. So say if you face any other tag team, you move up in rankings and this such. But if you beat us this week, it'll be a little bit higher. But you're not just going to jump to number one just because you won one match out of the, you have a line to get in, buddy. But beating the champions, we'll take that in consideration and move you up a little bit further. It puts more emphasis on the structure and the records and everything else that follows.
Yeah. There's really no countering that. You're 100% right on that. I'm just trying to think of a way to combat what you said. There really isn't a good way to, but I absolutely agree with what you have said there as far as the rankings go in the tag team division. No question.
Yeah, I like the matchups. Look, I don't want to, say, hey, we shouldn't be seeing, Bucks versus TH2 right now. I like the matchup, but get rid of those stakes and keep everything else in perspective as far as your ranking system and everything else goes. Because I just believe it makes it that much more important. Even go as far as let the Young Bucks try to do something like this. Hey, if you beat us, your number one contenders, and then Tony pops in backstage and says, no, ranking system. That's all we're going by. That's it. It stresses the importance of it going forward. Because now going forward, I'm just thinking that the ranking system is now, dwindled a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely agree. On that. Moving on, we got MJF and Wardlow. They were backstage. MJF cut a very fiery promo. Really great stuff here. Very direct and to the point. He says he gets to upset a bunch of not-so-smart marks tonight when he bashes in Orange Cassidy's brains to retain his Dynamite Diamond ring. He vowed to hurt him and he's going to love every second of it because I'm better than you, and you know it, says MJF. We go from that to a vignette with Darby Allin. He was reacting to ink blots, sitting at a table opposite a guy administering the test. Darby saw outlines of Ricky Starks. He saw an outline of Powerhouse Will Hobbs and Brian Cage, where he described each of them, and then he mentioned that Brian Cage was the number one contender for the TNT Championship, and this is 6 months in the making because Brian Cage, upon entry into AEW, almost tried to kill Darby Allin, and we have come full circle with this feud. I like that they mentioned that. He says he's dealt with 27 years of shit from people like Cage. He said Cage has a chance to beat him for the TNT title one-on-one, and he welcomes that. I wonder if this is going to be some sort of stipulation match, maybe steel cage between these two. It's got to be some sort of stipulation to keep the Team Taz out of Darby Allin's way. I want to see a one-on-one match between these two. Then, this guy showed a inkblot image of Sting, and Jesse, Darby just smiled and laughed. So clearly, Tony Khan and AEW are playing off the Sting coming in with Winter is Coming, and Darby, a lot of people have been saying this after last week, he may be the, the predecessor, or the future Sting of TNT on AEW. Looks like something's happening there.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, yeah. I'd love to see those two get together. I don't want to see those two face each other. I heard he's doing the match. I mean, I hope not.
No, we'll get to that. I got news on it, but maybe a mentor, maybe a coach, maybe a manager of sorts. I don't know. But clearly something's going on there between Darby and Sting. So it's very interesting. It's got a lot of people talking right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Sting is going to have a match, maybe two or whatever, I'm not saying I don't want to ever see him wrestle. There's just nothing there for him and Darby. So, I mean, I hope they go somewhere else with that match.
Yeah. Well, moving on to Sting. I expected Sting to be a little bit later in the show, but the way that they had this show flowing tonight, Sting was in the first hour, legitimately after the first match that we seen on Dynamite tonight. Shivani was in the ring. He interviewed Cody with Arn Anderson, and when Shivani asked Cody for his thoughts, the lights went out, and the snow started to fall in Daly's place. Sting's video and his theme music began to play, and out walked Sting. So he made himself very comfortable on Dynamite tonight. He walked to the ring. He was very relaxed. He was very jovial. He was very happy-go-lucky tonight was Sting. Arn Anderson walked up to Sting and said he just wanted to get up close to him to see if this was actually real. So Arn said he sees that Sting and Cody each have an agenda. So I'm going to see my way out of the ring, said Arn Anderson. He left. Shivani then told Sting, well, who am I to stand here? Here you go, buddy. And he handed the microphone over to Sting, and Sting was like, whoa. Well, where are you going, Tony? Where are you going? You have to be kidding me. And then he insisted on a hug from Tony Schiavone. Sting affectionately talked about how excited Schiavone was last week when Sting showed up. Schiavone then was prompted to do his famous It's Sting commentary call right there on the spot, on the microphone in front of Sting. Fans went crazy. Schiavone smiled. He hugged Sting. Fans were chanting, this was awesome. And Sting was like, yes, this is awesome. So Cody and Sting were in the ring alone. And Cody welcomed Sting back. He thanked him for the assist last week against Team Taz. He says he's been waiting to share a ring with him for a very, very, very long time. Sting says he's not there for him. At least, not right now. He said that in a very friendly way and not in a, oh, we're going to get a Cody versus Sting match coming up really soon. It was in a very friendly way. He said something makes him feel at home in Daly's place. I wonder what that could be. Maybe they actually appreciate you here, man. Maybe Vince McMahon and not having him around did you good for a couple of months. Huh? Right after they let you go and they took that phone call and called you up. Hey, bro, we're getting rid of your merchandise on the shop. And then that gave Sting all the reason in the world to go to AEW. So that's got to make him a very happy man. The fact that they respect him here And the fact that they're going to give him a proper send-off at this late stage of his career, that's what he wanted. WWE never really cared about Sting. WWE never had any plans for Sting. And we'll go over that in just a little bit. I got more about this promo here. But at least right now, he said he's not here for Cody. He said something makes him feel at home at Daly's place. He looked up at Darby sitting in the stands. Fans were chanting for Darby. He said he looks at ringside. He sees the animals are the same, but in a lot of different ways. He says he's in the jungle, and the Stinger has come full circle, and he's on TNT once again. Cody said, like I said, sir, welcome back. Sting says he knows Cody and how he does everything around here, and he's the man around here. He said the only thing for sure about Sting is that nothing is for sure. He said he is signed officially with AEW, and he plans to be close to the AEW fans and the promotion for a long time. He said he plans to spend a lot of time right here. He said the way he chooses to play is his business, though. He put his arm around Cody. He put his forehead on Cody's forehead, hugged him real tight, held him real tight, and said, see you around, kid. And that was it. Now, I love this segment. You know, I love this for the simple fact that we got to hear Sting speak. We got to hear how he sounded after 5 years of doing nothing in WWE and being almost non-existent. Back on TNT, grabbing that casual fan that might have been a lapsed fan, might have been kind of tuning in but not tuning in. To see him back on TNT, it's a very exciting thing. In fact, it's just one of those feel-good moments that it almost felt the same as if you were watching Sting back in the 1990s on TNT while watching Nitro. I felt the same thing. And with him being here, I thought this was a tremendous promo. I thought this really dug deep into what they are potentially planning with, you know, maybe something between him and Cody, him and Darby. But the thing here is, Jesse, with Sting being back, like I mentioned before, the fact that he was there to speak and didn't really go over why he was there made the whole segment. Why would you want to sit at that poker table and give away your tell and give everybody, you know, a clue as to what you're doing here? If Sting is going to be this mysterious character and he's going to show up when he shows up and nobody is going to realize when he's showing up or know when he's showing up, that's the whole part of his gimmick. So why would they do that? Why would they give that away? Who gives a shit why he's there? He's just there. We know why he's there. We know why he's there as a fan watching this, like an eagle-eyed fan. Like we're smarter than the average fan. We know why Sting is in AEW. But as far as what his role is on TV, I'm glad we don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see how long they carry this out before you start getting pissed, because I can hear a rant right now from you. It's been fucking. Why is he here? I mean, just wait till they start pissing you off.
Listen, man. You know AEW is going to be doing big things next year. I have a feel. I have a feeling in my bones. They're going to be doing something big. Whether it's going to be at Revolution, whether it's going to be at Double or Nothing. Maybe they do something WrestleMania weekend for all we fucking know. I don't know. You know, WrestleMania, you know, you talked about it months ago. You've been doing this for me for a little bit now. You talked about it months ago with me privately and personally. They have that stadium that fits 80,000 fucking people. Who's to say they don't do something when they get clearance to have more fans in attendance, of more fans in the building? Who's to say they don't do something if WWE is going to be doing something at Raymond James Stadium? And they're going to be trying to fill that stadium for WrestleMania. Yeah. You know Vince wants to do that. Who's to say that Tony Khan doesn't do the same thing? Who's to say that they didn't bring in Sting for that very reason?
Good. I mean, I just hope they book him the right way. I mean, I don't want to get something lame. I mean, we get a Sting versus Shaq for a fucking Iron Man match or some shit, dude. I mean, just
no.
I mean, look, just book him the right way. I got a feeling it'll be with Cody. I mean, it seems like the only way you can really book him is in a highly gimmicked match. And who does these storytelling matches and all this other stuff better than anybody else? It'll be Cody. You know, they'll bring the last name into it, Dusty into it, and the heritage and everything else. They'll bring it all into play, and it will be awesome. I can see Cody and Sting going at it and producing one hell of a match.
Well, you know, Sting being in AEW, you know, it could have several meanings. It could mean a lot to Sting for personal reasons, but there's something special about it, knowing where Sting's heart was always, and that was in WCW, how big, Dusty was in the life of pretty much everybody. And the majority of the people that came out of WCW, obviously, Dusty is still idolized and revered today in not only his sons' lives and in AEW. The spirit of Dusty always will live on. His spirit lives on in NXT as well. They got the Dusty Tag Team Classic. A lot of people in NXT have been influenced by Dusty and the words that he gave them while he was still here with us. There's something very, just unbelievable about Sting coming back and working with Cody. And I feel like not only is it for Sting, but it's also, why wouldn't Sting want to help Cody in this time in AEW in honor of Dusty? I feel like Dusty's always a part of everything,
Yeah. You know what else Sting could be here to do? He could, this is something that's kind of died off a little bit. Nobody's really thinking about, but what if Sting is here to help be the catalyst to bring in the 4 Horsemen?
That's a possibility as well. Again, that all goes back to exactly why he didn't really reveal why he was there. That could be a possibility. I like that.
It could be Sting and the Horsemen have history, and then maybe Sting kicks some ass a little bit, and people get pissed off, and they form the 4 Horsemen to try to take out Sting. And who knows? They could reintroduce it that way. I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that as well. You know what else Sting is doing, Jesse? He's actually selling out on Pro Wrestling Tees. This was the #1 selling shirt on all of Pro Wrestling Tees, and the fastest selling shirt in the history of Pro Wrestling Tees on any given 24-hour period was the new Sting merchandise last week. Everything was sold out after his debut on Dynamite. So with all the cretins on social media and all the fucking idiots on social media, well, if this was in NXT, Jade would be shitting all over it. Or if this was WWE or whatever the reason these fucking clowns on social media were giving me, obviously it was a great business move because, like I said last week, in light of Tony Khan not having a live audience and not having revenue generated by ticket sales, look at what he did in just one 24-hour period on shopaew.com. A hat, a hoodie, and a t-shirt completely sold out, fastest of all time on that website in that 24-hour period. It's not a good business move? I think so.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pretty damn good for a t-shirt company, huh?
Yeah, I know, right?
As far as Sting wrestling, there was a news article by Justin Barrasso and Sports Illustrated about Sting. It was reported last week by Dave Meltzer that AEW wanted the idea of a big star from the old generation being back as a regular and will be used on Dynamite as a full-time character instead of making a few appearances a year as he had done in WWE. Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated reported today that Sting will have a collaborative relationship with AEW President Tony Khan, which will be contrasting the relationship he had with Vince McMahon. Per the report, Tony Khan was said to have worked tirelessly to make the signing happen and did so in secret as no one else, including AEW's 4 executive vice presidents who didn't know anything about the signing until it was actually finalized. When they did find out about the news, they were all said to be ecstatic upon learning the big news. Sources state that Sting was thoroughly impressed with how AEW handled the entire process of signing him, as well as already having a long-term plan in place for his debut. Again, I'm going to double down on what I said last week when Jesse was here, and we talked about that on that big show last week. It's amazing how a lot of people discredit and make fun or poke fun and put down Tony Khan. When you got someone as iconic and legendary in the annals of this fucking industry as Steve Borden, and he comes in to a promotion that's only been around for 1 year and a couple months and sees that Tony Khan has worked tirelessly to give him what, he thinks is, out of respect, the best offer possible, shows respect to the legacy of the character and to Steve Borden and his career and what he's done. And the fact that Sting is so impressed that you went about all of this process in the best way possible and you had a long-term plan in place for his arrival and beyond Bro, Jesse, what does that say about AEW? And I'm already thinking ahead. What if Sting is just one of many that Tony Khan is talking about? He already said that he's got a couple of aces up his sleeve. Bro, I'm telling you right now, I never let go of this. And I still think this to this day. If this was as good of a negotiation process with Steve Borden, can you imagine if Tony Khan next year or whenever sits down with Punk? I think Punk is coming to AEW.
He's already got him. You see, Punk has been talking the last few days.
I know.
Making himself relevant again in the wrestling world. I mean, I think he has Punk. I think he finally has Punk. I think AEW has turned that corner from we don't know where this company is going. I don't want to jump on a sinking ship to this company is taking off, and I want to try to get in here as early as I can. I think Punk has seen the direction and the turn, and I think he's been uttering AEW a lot in recent, and especially in the Renee Young interview that he just did. You know, he's talking a lot about AEW and he's talking a lot about wrestling again. So, I mean, granted, I don't know how everybody else feel, but me, I'm not pretty sure JD's in the same boat. He kind of diminished his value when he came back to that shit on Fox. Dude. That was
awful. It was terrible.
It was not a good move. It gave us half of the hype of him returning, and that was it. We got nothing else from it, and it just shit all over anything that he could possibly do in wrestling in the future. Because we're gonna look back at it and say, well, there was that stint over there with Fox that kind of, it's not the same. If Punk comes back, it'll be like a little golf clap for me. Interesting, cool. Let's see what happens. It won't be oh my God, fucking Punk is back. And there's Punk. Look at it. All right.
Bro, listen, this Sting signing is going to be a gateway to what is going to happen in 2021. I'm telling you right now. Who is to say? Now, I may be getting ahead of myself. I don't know where they're going with this Kenny Omega shit. Kenny Omega is back to doing what Kenny Omega does best, having the best matches in the world. Okay? He wants to win championships all around the world. He wants to be the belt collector. He wants to make history. Don Callis has been talking about let's make history. What match has not been done ever in the world of pro wrestling? Omega and Punk. Bro, I'm telling you right now, this is my bold prediction for everybody watching this shit right now. I guarantee you, when Kenny Omega gets into this title run and we start talking about, is Punk maybe coming back to wrestling? I'm telling you right now, if AEW wants to combat WWE by teaming with Impact and teaming with the possible New Japan or whatever the case may be, forget that. Forget that. If you want to do something to fill out that stadium, say during a WrestleMania weekend or have a one-off show on your own weekend, not running against WWE, bro, Sting was brought in for one specific reason. What that reason is, we don't know yet. I'm telling you right now, Punk, I do agree with you, Jesse. He's going to be brought in. I think Tony Khan's got him as well. It's only a matter of time. I swear to God, bro, I think we see Omega and Punk during this Omega title run, and we get history made, and that's going to be the selling point right there. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. And that's a really good thought, because if they just popped up with Punk right now, I'll be honest, it'd be cool, but I really wouldn't be that excited. But if they start booking Punk versus Omega, okay, you got my attention now.
If you want to fill that stadium, if you want to make WrestleMania feel, I don't want to say little, but you're going to make WrestleMania feel, I would say, not little. You want WrestleMania to feel the heat. WrestleMania has not been WrestleMania. As far as I'm concerned, it's one of the worst pay-per-views of the entire, it's all hype. But if AEW does what they need to do and do it correctly and pulls out something like that, bro, whoever Sting wrestles on that show, whether it's Cody, Sting versus Cody, maybe they do something like that. Maybe they get the four Horsemen involved, like you said, reformation of that. Omega versus CM Punk. I mean, bro, you're gonna headline a fucking show like that with CM Punk and Omega, bro, and Sting being back against Cody or Jericho, like we had hinted back months ago when Jericho brought out the baseball bat. Bro, you're gonna sell thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tickets just based on that alone. I mean, I'm there already. I'm talking about it. I'm there already if it happens.
Yeah, and I think he does. I think he already has Punk in his back pocket. And if he does, the right move would be to wait for the perfect opportunity to bring them out, which is, I hope that's what they're doing. And if I'm them, I think we're close enough to try to wait for this to happen. I would wait until they travel again, until the next time they come back to Chicago before I debut Punk.
Yeah.
That gives you plenty of time to deal with the other storylines, and you just don't want to pop out big shit all the time. You just popped out Sting. Let's let that marinate for a few months.
Yep.
Let's get Pac back into the mix. Let's settle these title situations. Get Kenny's heel run going, and then hopefully by that time early next year, they're looking into doing some kind of traveling. They come back out to Windy City, bring Punk out.
There you go, man. That's my prediction. I mean, it's just hearsay right now. It's just two buddies talking about the possibility of it. I was thinking about this earlier in the day when I was getting my notes ready for the show tonight. I feel in my bones Punk is imminent at some point in the next year. I just feel it. So I'm glad I got that off my chest. I wanted to save it for tonight's show. I'll probably reiterate that on Off the Script this weekend for the weekend show. But Tony Khan was said to be adamant about Tony Schiavone also making his iconic "It's Sting" catchphrase on commentary to call Sting when he first came out. The big question is whether Sting will actually wrestle. Barrasso wrote, even with his advanced age, there are plans for Sting to eventually enter the AEW ring. Against who? We don't know yet. His spinal stenosis is still a thing, and WWE did not clear him. AEW will have to see if they could get him medically cleared to compete. Sting will speak about his promotional debut. Obviously, as the weeks go on, we will know what had happened there and what his plans are moving forward. But Tony Schiavone was supposed to sit down with him. He didn't really sit down with him tonight, and that was pretty much all that happened in that segment with Cody, Sting, and then Tony Schiavone exited stage left and left the entire ring to both Cody and Sting. But that's what happened there. Sting, very unpredictable in what he's going to be doing on AEW television, and I like it. Now, as far as Team Taz goes, Taz was standing backstage in what looked to be a pre-tape promo with his son, Will Hobbs, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. He mocked the moment that we just watched with Sting and Cody. He talked about what happened last week and when they were beating up Darby and Cody, and then Tony Khan signed Sting to back up his golden boy. Starks talks about Cody's former star student who is now with them. Taz says his men are always ready to beat somebody's ass, and he said, who better? Who better? So I don't know where this is going here. Do you think this is a good use of Team Taz? Does this, with Sting being involved, is this the right way that they would go about it using Sting here? Or is Sting going to be used at all in this, Jesse? What do you think?
I'm not sure. It feels like Team Taz kind of lost a little momentum when they got Hobbs and Taz's son. I mean, they're just kind of there. They feel very mid-cardish at this point right now.
Yeah,
very, very mid-cardish.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they feel that way.
I don't know.
I don't know why they feel. I don't know. I don't know if necessarily they're the right people to be feuding with Sting, if that's the case. But apparently, something's going to be going on here. Mostly, it's about Darby and the TNT title of Brian Cage, Ricky Starks as well. That's what they want. I don't know where Cody fits into all this. I don't know if he's going to be in this at all. I don't know if Sting's going to be in this, but just by Sting and Cody, I just feel like Team Taz isn't at that level to be feuding with Sting or Cody Rhodes.
Nah, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, Cody, I can see Sting and Cody, but Team Taz, man. I mean, they're just so much other talent and younger talent they need to be dealing with. I don't see any kind of connection with them and Sting and anything like that.
Yeah,
none.
Moving on here, man. We got FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood with Tully back on Dynamite against a new tag team here, making their Dynamite debut, and that is the Varsity Blondes. This is Griff, Garrison, and Brian Pillman Jr. Now, I wasn't sold on this at all. I wasn't sold on this idea at all. But seeing Pillman and Garrison together, I actually thought they looked very good as a tag team. I don't know what you thought, but I thought they looked the part tonight. Now, they were against in my eyes, the best tag team on the planet. FTR was in control. Garrison got a hot tag eventually, and we got FTR finishing Pillman off here with a Goodnight Express. After the match, FTR got into an argument about something, and Jurassic Express were at ringside, and they got into a back and forth with Jurassic Express. So FTR seems to be moving up the ranks and kind of losing the titles to the Bucks. They're seemingly going through, all of the other tag teams on AEW television to maybe get back at that point. But what do you think of Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, Jesse? Do they fit the part of the Varsity Blondes? And what is your overall reaction to seeing them tonight in the ring against FTR?
I'm not really a big fan of Pillman Jr. in the ring. To be honest, I've been watching him for weeks, and he's just kind of just stay level for me. And Griff Garrison's kind of entertaining on BTE. Outside of that, man, I really don't see any kind of shine in these guys right now. I mean, maybe they'll come around, but I just think it's a work in progress. I don't want to say I don't want to like them, but they just need to do a little bit more. There's nothing there but just two guys. Just two guys. Yeah,
I understand. What I like about this is normally, in WWE this would have been booked completely different. There would have been interference, a DQ, or some fuckery, on Raw or SmackDown. I like the fact that you got these two young kids in Pillman and Garrison, getting 6, 7, 8 minutes or so with FTR. They got their shit in. They showed everybody what they look like with this new revamped look, this new team name, this new tag team going forward. They got their shit in about 7, 8 minutes. Got to work with FTR. And then after the fact, FTR gets into a shoving match with Jurassic Express, and they get a possible match being made out of that, or a possible feud coming out of that. Instead of Jurassic Express interfering in the match, causing FTR to lose, which is what would have happened on WWE television, we get all that stuff happening after the match. So I like the fact that they give you the match, you get your shit in, you get a decisive winner, and then you build towards whatever's happening with whomever after the match. That's just me. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, I didn't see a problem with like the match itself or the structure of it or anything about it. It's just, but the Varsity Blondes, like, what are we doing here? And we've got, I don't know how many way more interesting tag teams than just a couple of guys, Varsity Blondes. Brian Pillman Jr., his name value alone seems like something you can use that guy with something more important with if your goal is to push him. Again, I think he needs more work in dark, but if you're going to put him on TV and give him a gimmick, his last name alone gives him story. What are we doing with this guy? Or maybe, but that's one of those things I could take as, we'll see, let it build, let it marinate. I get that part. I'm not saying put him on TV, instant storyline. I know, but as far as this tag team, I'm not feeling it. Not yet, at least.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with them moving forward. Relatively young. Hopefully they get to a point where we see more out of them. But I'm intrigued. I think it's got some legs. Let's see if Tony Khan can come up with some genius plan to back these guys and see what happens with them in the future. Alex Marvez interviewed Adam Hangman Page at a bar about facing Matt Hardy and Private Party next week, but he's got no partners. Alex Reynolds and John Silver showed up behind the bar and offered to be his partners. So he nicely said no, but they asked who else would it be. Then he changed his mind and said it would be just one match, but this doesn't mean he's joining the Dark Order. It's just one and done. Silver and Reynolds were excited over the fact that Hangman is going to be their partner. So he's not joining the Dark Order, Jesse, but I'm pretty sure Brody Lee is lingering somewhere. And we're going to get Brody Lee back saying something in regards to Adam Hangman Page.
Yeah, probably. This Hangman thing with Dark Order is going somewhere.
It's definitely going somewhere.
It's going somewhere because they're hitting on it. It's on BTE. They're hitting on it. It's going somewhere, but maybe you're right. Yeah, I could see it leading to a Brody and Hangman feud. I could do that. That works.
Hangman was looking for partners. And like Mr. Marvez said, it's going to be against Matt Hardy and Private Party. Now, I got news on Matt Hardy here. Matt Hardy apparently is going through a big character change. AEW is planning a big character change for Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy has been a babyface since his AEW debut. Things could take a turn for him eventually. Dave Meltzer noted on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio that most of the eliminations in the Battle Royal last week had a purpose. Matt Hardy turning on his own partners and eliminating them from what he was told, he says. Silver got one of the biggest pops coming out of anyone who was there. Silver was a total babyface, and then Hardy eliminated him, and that was on purpose because they know nothing is going to get people to boo Matt Hardy unless they eliminated someone who was very much over in that Battle Royal, and that was John Silver. So, I don't know if this means Hardy's going heel. I don't know if this is going to mean that Matt Hardy is going to abandon Private Party next week. I have no idea. But apparently, Jesse, Matt Hardy is going through another character change. I mentioned this, whether it was last week or the week before that. Whatever the next character change is, I hope he sticks to it because I don't want to see 4 or 5 different versions of Matt Hardy on my television. I want to cheer and support one version of Matt Hardy, and I want him to stick to it.
Matt Hardy changing gimmicks is Matt Hardy's gimmick.
Yeah, but
that's like saying the Big Show's gonna come out and do a gimmick change and do a choke slam tonight instead.
All right, well,
that's what the fuck he does.
All right, well, it's not believable though. And it gets boring.
Hardy's been teasing the heel change on BTE for weeks too. Weeks.
Well, whatever the heel turn is going to materialize in, I hope he sticks to it. I really do. Mm-hmm. I want to see him on television. I think he's got a little bit more left to give before he calls it a career. But he did mention when he came back after that scary fall at the pay-per-view in August, or in September rather, that he wants to get back and healthy, and he wants to focus on what is really important, and he wants to have one final run, and he wants the AEW championship. Is this going to be Matt Hardy changing character and then getting a little bit more serious? Are we going back to broken? I don't know.
No, I hope not.
We'll see what happens with Matt Hardy, but you guys can expect Matt Hardy to have somewhat of a gimmick change or character change on television. When that is, I don't know. We'll find out soon. Moving on here, man. Speaking of the Dark Order number 10 versus Dustin Rhodes with Lee Johnson. Rhodes wins in 3 minutes. Dustin finished off number 10 with a running bulldog. Wasn't even the match that was anything. It was more of a backdrop. By the way, number 10 kicked Aaron Solo, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Pamela at ringside when he reached out and grabbed at him. So I don't know what's happening there, but Rhodes wins, like I said, for what was a squash match pretty much. Not really a squash, but kind of a squash. 3 minutes there with a running bulldog. After the match, Johnson, my boy Lee Johnson, entered the ring to celebrate with Dustin. When Evil Uno led the Dark Order back into the ring, he said he isn't there to fight. He said they can't change their past, but he can affect their future. He talked about the Rhodes family name. He said it comes with pressure. He said in AEW, he is but the 3rd most important Rhodes. So clearly, Cody and Brandy are more important than Dustin. So he wants to get under Mr. Dustin Rhodes' skin. He said they can help him, and he could take his place in the Dark Order. And I love this. This is such a old school Tony Khan, Cody, Dustin Rhodes family fucking thing. You can join the Dark Order and take your place as number 7. Shivani says he doesn't want to be that number. I wonder why. What do you say, number 7? Dustin held out his hand and he was considering it. Per se. He was not really. So Dustin slapped Evil Uno in the face. Uno stood and said, whoa. Don't attack him. Because the Dark Order wanted to lunge at him and beat the shit out of him. He said in time when he sees the light and understands what he understands, Dustin will come begging to join the Dark Order. Now, I love Dustin getting more TV time. I think he is a serious character that I really appreciate on this type of show. I don't know where this is leading, but Jesse, I mentioned this several weeks back, and I still kind of hold this to that prediction. I think when we start seeing a little bit more as far as fans and life back in buildings and AEW getting back on the road, I see the Dark Order and the Rhodes family in blood and guts. I think that's what they're leading to here.
Okay, I can do that. Look, I'm almost hesitant to put Dark Order in such a serious match because they're so comical. Individually, I could put them in serious matches, but when
are they comical when Brody Lee is not there, but they're serious when Brody Lee is there? So, I mean, are we just seeing like a little in-between transitional phase until we get Lee back on television?
Yeah, but look, when they're in individual matches, they come off as serious. They do. But it seems like when they're in their group matches, they come off as a little bit on the more comical side. You know, maybe that's why we don't see them really in a tag division
the reason why I say that is not only because of what we've seen with Dustin here today, but bro, when Brody Lee gets back on television and stemming from what happened in that dog collar match, you know he's coming right for Cody. So that's why I said that. I think they're going to amp it up a little bit. I do not think that we're done with Dark Order and the Rhodes family at all. And I for some reason I could be wrong, but I could see Blood and Guts being Dark Order versus the Rhodes family.
It could be. I'm still thinking. I'm thinking it's Brody and Hangman. I think they're gonna keep Hangman hovering around Dark Order until Brody is ready, and he comes back and basically, what are you doing here? You know, and turns into one of those deals. But that I could see a Blood and Guts deal happening too. But they have so many different groups of factions they could do something like Blood and Guts for. And I want to get into that too.
Listen, I completely agree with you, bro. But with that type of match and it being an idea of Cody and the idea being really a Rhodes family concept because War Games was created by Dusty, I don't see anybody being in that first match other than a Rhodes.
I can see that.
But we'll see. I do think that we're going to get Hangman and Lee, and if that's the case, I hope so. And if that's the case, I am very excited about that match. I think that is going to be that's going to be a great fucking match.
Yes, that will be awesome. That will be. Hey, as you go on and get into the news and stuff, go pull up Tony Khan's Twitter. We got some news on there.
Tony Khan on Twitter. Let me look at that now. Live here, we'll look up what Tony Khan is saying on Twitter. Jesse says there's some news there. He says, I've signed a 14-man tag match for AEW Dynamite Live next week. Inner Circle. Jericho, Sammy, Santana, Ortiz, Wardlow, MJF versus Top Flight, Brandon Cutler, the Varsity Blondes, and the Best Friends. Trent and Chuck just led that team to Orange Cassidy's defense. Now they have a shot to lead them to a huge win. Sorry, great night of Dynamite. My bad with the typo. You're fighting to @Real Jake Hager, 7-on-7. The whole Inner Circle versus Top Flight, Cutler, Varsity Blondes, Best Friends. So many exciting possibilities, but no two teams in AEW have more bad blood than Santana Ortiz versus Best Friends. I don't like it.
14-man tag match.
Tony Khan, bro, listen, from me to you, man. From me to you. Please make it an elimination match. Fucking Christ. Didn't we go through this the last time we seen a fucking 12-man tag on Dynamite? I hate it. If there's anything I hate more, more than a lumberjack match or a fucking nonsensical battle royal, it's these fucking 14-man, 16-man matches that they do, and everybody tries to fit in 30 seconds to get their shit in, and it ends in 10 minutes.
So we have the 14-man tag match. We got the promos that didn't give us the conclusion that we thought we were going to get. We got the tag match where if you win up against the champions and you get a title shot. I said this night was Monday Night Raw-esque, and everybody called me fucking mean and in a bad mood and said I'm the asshole. Who's the asshole now? It's still me. It's still me. But still, I'm not the only asshole.
Let me DM Thunder Rosa.
Oh, God, no.
Anyway, 14-man tag, that's ridiculous, folks. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't give a shit about that. That's a clusterfuck waiting to happen. What I thought was going to be a clusterfuck, Jesse, but didn't really end up being a clusterfuck. I don't think he belongs on television on Dynamite anyway, but it was in such a small dose that it really didn't do much to anger me like I thought it was going to anger me. We had Tony Schiavone sitting along Brandy Rhodes to chat with Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Brandy was upset that Shivani touted all of his achievements and all his basketball highlights and all of that more than her highlights. I don't know exactly what her highlights are. Maybe being married to Cody, but I'm not here to judge. She said, it's fine. Go ahead. She wasn't happy with Tony Schiavone's introduction of her. Shaq talked about how he and Jade Cargill go all the way back, but he didn't like what she did to Brandy's arm. She said she hopes they can stop all of this and nobody is going to get hurt. Shaq said he and Cody went back and forth on Twitter in a little exchange. No disrespect meant. That's just the way I am. He was just messing around on social media. He said he is excited to see Jade Cargill and Brandy go at it. He rubbed his hands together like he was very excited about that possibility. Shaq then told Brandy that while she's recovering, she should watch Jade Cargill and get some pointers. She stood up and asked, was that a serious comment there? He said, I was very serious about that comment. So she said it was a pattern lately of disrespect towards her, and she's sick of this shit. She then grabbed a water that Tony Schiavone was, I don't know if he was drinking it or he was just holding it there, but he used it more so as a prop. He wasn't drinking out of the cup or anything. She grabbed his cup of water, this plastic cup of water, threw it on Shaq, doused him in water, and called him an overgrown asshole. And then she stormed off. Now, I don't really give a shit about any of this, and I'm pretty safe to assume that you don't either, but I thought this was going to be... listen, I thought Shaq being on Dynamite was going to be a lot worse. The fact that it was overly produced and it came off as very disingenuous, I mean, that's exactly how the Jade Cargill segment came off, and I fucking hated that. But this was such a small dose of Shaq, and I'm glad that this possibly is not leading him to being in the ring and wrestling. So if it gets to that point, I'm going to shit all over it. But I'm not really too concerned about that right now. The fact that this was overproduced is more bothersome to me than anything, but it was a very small dose.
You can add this segment to the list I just gave you of the shit that made this episode very Monday Night Raw-ish.
Listen, man, they got the fucking basketball. They got basketball coming back. They need Shaq on TNT.
Hold on. Hold the fuck on. Now we get a celebrity on the show in a feud with the chief brand officer. So I'm to believe that Cody and Brandy and Tony Khan invited Shaquille O'Neal to the show just so Brandy can curse him out and throw water in his face. I'm supposed to believe that's real. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. This is why I say this episode was very Monday Night Raw-ish for me. Look, I didn't hate the episode. I mean, it just had too many Monday Night Raw tendencies for me. And as long as they don't repeat this week after week after week, then I'm not worried about it becoming an episode of Raw in the long term.
I hope to God that Shaq is not thinking about getting in the ring. That's it. That's all I care about. If he wants to be on Dynamite, if he wants to fucking be at ringside,
give us NBA analysis or do some some training lessons in the paint on how to do a low post. He's here to fucking wrestle. What else is he here for?
Well, like last week, I said last week I didn't think that they needed Shaq. I don't give a shit about Shaq being on this show. That's not the type of audience that I want them to really go out there and get. With Sting being back, that's the type of audience that I think is going to really find interest in this show. Because if you bring in fans that are fans of Shaq to watch whatever Shaq does, those fans are going to watch only for Shaq and not give a fuck about anything else. At least with Sting, you get a general sense up and down the fucking show that those people are going to stick with you. That's just me. You don't want these, fly-by-night fans to come on in, watch one segment, and then fucking leave. That's not what you really want. That's, I don't get how they think that's promotion. It's promotion for the time being. It's not long-term promotion. It doesn't have long-term effect. Because it's here today and then it's gone tomorrow and then nobody gives a fuck about it. And then ESPN or TNT or whoever is back to doing whatever they usually do, not talking about pro wrestling. That's my point.
Yeah. It's the proper rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think it's a terrible practice. I really do.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was in small doses. It really didn't have... it was actually an afterthought on this show if you really want to think about it. So it came, it went, and goodbye. Maybe Shaq will be in the corner of Jade Cargill when we get that exhilarating unbelievable promising match of Cargill versus Brandy Rhodes at Revolution. Said nobody.
Wait.
Moving on here, man. MJF and the Inner Circle, the turmoil of the Inner Circle. They made their way to the ring, led by Jericho. Jericho's theme was being sung by all the clowns in attendance at Daly's place as usual. MJF gave him a bit of a pep talk. Jericho said, this is a serious night. Could be the last time we see them together in an AEW ring. He said last week on Dynamite, he said they had 7 days to decide if they were going to move forward and become the most powerful faction in all of pro wrestling history or disband forever. He said the shit is going on right now, not what I got planned for when they brought MJF and Wardlow into the mix. He said the arguing and the shoving like petulant punks was embarrassing and sickening, and it will never happen again. He said Wardlow doesn't like Jake Hager, and Sammy Guevara doesn't like MJF, and Ortiz doesn't like any of this, and Santana is so pissed he didn't even show up for work this week. He says it's time to decide if they move forward as a unit and a team, or do they end it all tonight. He asked everyone to air their grievances. So MJF asked if he could speak. Said he wanted everyone to understand that he loves each of them as brothers. He says he's starting to understand that he might be the issue, and I think I know why. He said he sees on social media, and I laughed at this, Jesse. He says he sees on social media that people think he wants to break up the group, and maybe they are starting to buy the hype, and he said he wanted to be a part of the faction and create bonds that would never be broken. When he addressed Sammy, Sammy told him to shut his damn mouth. Screw this guy, Chris, Sammy said. Now, when MJF said, that he's trying to break up the Inner Circle or he's trying to disband them, he's trying to become the leader of the Inner Circle, something along the lines of what MJF said tonight, I thought back to what we were talking about, and those are the two possible reasons that we discussed for weeks on this channel. I don't know if those things are going to end up being the case, but I found it funny that he did mention that because he is looking at everything being said on social media. He's that type of guy. That's just the way I feel about MJF. He's that type of guy that he's looking at what people are saying. He might not give a shit, but he cares. Am I right or wrong on that?
He cares. I mean, he's vain. I mean, he wants everybody to think he's great. I mean, of course he cares. I mean, he had to slip that in there. I like how they did that.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's paying attention to. He got his ear to the ground and in the wrestling world, man. He went out and said he was gonna go out and rate some podcasts and everything else last week, and sent all of the podcasters like flurrying to try to get his attention to check out their shows. Man, he's pretty good at what he does, man.
Yeah, I know. Jericho said he saw him almost throw in the towel last week. MJF said it was a misunderstanding. He said he had sweat on his brow. He swore on his life that was the truth. Ortiz stepped up and said Santana made him realize that MJF and Wardlow are assets and great talents and definitely beneficial to the group. But as human beings, that's questionable. He told Wardlow he's great. He told MJF he's growing on him like a fungus. He's growing on him, but like a fungus. He turned to Sammy and told him to shake MJF's hand. He said to Sammy, I know you're better than him, and you know it. So MJF really didn't take kindly to that. He laughed it off almost. But he turned to Sammy, told him to shake MJF's hand, said he gets that Jericho chose MJF, not him, but in life you can't choose the hand you're dealt. MJF laughed, and he thought this was absurd, but MJF offered a handshake anyway. Sammy paced back and forth. He went up to MJF and said, all right, I'll shake his hand. He looked at MJF, he looked at Jericho, he said he trusts him with everything. Sammy said if one more thing happens with MJF, he's telling MJF and Jericho that he's going to quit the Inner Circle. Jericho said, okay, shake his hand. Sammy and MJF shook hands. Jericho says this is huge. He appreciated Sammy standing up for himself. He said it seems like everything is cool. Hager then took the microphone and said, I have a question. Why does this guy, pointing to Wardlow, keep staring at me? And then Jesse, one of the biggest things happened on all of Dynamite. Wardlow actually spoke. Wardlow lashed out at Hager, yelling at Hager, saying Hager creeps him out because he's been staring at him since he's entered the company. Jericho says, I have an idea. How about we agree to stop staring at each other? Hager says, I could stop staring at him right now. Wardlow said the same thing. I could stop staring at you too. Then they side-stared each other for the rest of the segment. Jericho said it's now time to agree to the future. MJF interrupted Jericho and says he's going to beat the living crap out of Cassidy. Jericho said, Max, you're ruining it, please. MJF then stopped and Jericho asked everyone to bring their middle fingers center of the ring together. Jericho yelled, Inner Circle for life, baby. And Jericho's music played at the end of the segment. I don't know what you're thinking about this at the end of all this, Jesse. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was a great segment. And I posed this to you via text when we were watching the show together. Is Sammy said, he'll quit the Inner Circle if MJF gets out of hand or if something goes wrong that he doesn't believe Jericho's right on. Could we see the Inner Circle turn on Sammy Guevara and kick him out of the Inner Circle like Evolution kicked Batista out of Evolution? Could we see that?
Yeah, that's a strong possibility too. I can see the signs kind of leaning that way. We're at different votes right now. You got them pulling the Evolution. I got them pulling the Bullet Club and kicking out Jericho. So I still think Jericho gets kicked out and Inner Circle goes on even stronger behind MJF as full leader. I could see
either one of those two things happening, and you know what? At the end of the night, I'm not going to care either one. I think those are two very good directions if that is the way that they're going about this.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, either one, they could definitely build. I mean, I could see them splitting off Sammy, and they can build up Sammy's singles run. But is he ready for a singles run yet? Leave him heel for a while longer with MJF, make him a number 2 in Inner Circle, branch him off later, feud him with MJF down the road. There's so many different things they can do with it. I like it.
Yeah. And the reason why I brought up Sammy being kicked out is because, like I mentioned, and I think you're right, I think it might be too early for Sammy and his babyface run. I think let him linger in the Inner Circle a little bit longer with MJF and then split him away. But that's where I was going with that. I think Sammy's going to be a very good babyface, and I think if it ends up with him being kicked out, he is going to be that much bigger of a babyface. But like you said last week, I think Jericho's going to go do some Fozzy shit, and depending on who it is, if it's Jericho, great. But if it's MJF, it's probably going to get more heat on him, and Sammy's going to be a bigger babyface if it actually happens with MJF kicking him out. And that in itself is going to bring Jericho back as a babyface.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what would be more, what would get more heat, what would get MJF more heat. Kicking out Sammy or kicking out Jericho. I'm thinking Jericho. Jericho's more over right now, so that'll help MJF's heat meter go through the roof.
Yeah. Either one of those situations, I like it both for sure. Again, still intriguing stuff here by the Inner Circle. And we will see what happens moving forward. But those are the two possibilities there coming out of that faction on Dynamite. We got Eddie Kingston, and he was teaming with the Butcher and Blade against Lance Archer and the Lucha Brothers. Listen, guys. I got some groundbreaking information. Okay? This is...
Roman runs fast.
Listen, don't cut me off. I'm one fucking click away from a Thunder Rosa DM, okay? Listen, I got information for you guys that you're not going to believe, man. Forget the Braun Strowman news that I give you on Monday night, bro. You all know that, and I'll give it to you when I hear it about that information. But listen, this is so groundbreaking that it's going to put that news on Monday Night Raw to shame. Listen to this. You're not going to believe this. Lance Archer, he runs faster than Braun Strowman. I know. It's unbelievable. I was shocked when I fucking heard it.
You fucking ridiculous, dude. Nobody runs faster than Braun Strowman. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Lance Archer does, bro, because Lance Archer is greater than Braun Strowman. You got to remember that.
No.
He's the real monster among men.
God. Runs faster than Strowman. Get the fuck out of here.
Anyway. Kingston and his boys with the bunny against Lance Archer and the Lucha Brothers. Phoenix almost fucking killed himself in this match, but what else is new? Phoenix dove onto Kingston at ringside. He took a harder fall on the floor than anything he's done to anybody. He almost killed him fucking self against the barricade. Blade then avoided a top rope leap by Phoenix. Butcher and Blade delivered a tandem powerbomb neckbreaker in the end for the win. This went 7 minutes. It could have went a little bit longer. Could have been taken a little bit more serious. I just felt everything was rushed on this show for specific reasons. But We got Kingston, Butcher, and Blade winning in 7 minutes. Archer attacked the heels after the match in frustration. Butcher saved Blade from a running razor's edge. And Lance Archer's music played at the end of this segment. Very rushed on this, Jesse. You know, without Pac being there, it kind of made it like, I don't want to say irrelevant, but it made it seem less important without Pac there tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this guy's situation. Is he traveling back and forth? Is he crashing here? Because we need him on TV every week for a while.
Yeah, I don't know why. I did not hear anything. I did not read anything about him not being there or why he wasn't there. I have no idea. You know, he was back for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then he's just not on the show tonight, which is not really, it doesn't make sense. Yeah,
he's key to a few different things right now. I mean, especially, you know, you get the Death Triangle and everything else. He's also key to those trios titles. I mean, we need him back over here to reestablish everything in a couple of different, you know, angles that he's involved in.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the situation is. I guess, you know, like everything else, we'll find out from Meltzer or, you know, someone else sometime soon. But he was gone too long to be taking these, you know, spots off. We need him back every week for a while to reestablish. We need that guy in the ring. We need the guy on promos. He is awesome at everything he does, and we need him back.
Yeah, it didn't really feel all that special to me, or feel like that it mattered so much after Eddie Kingston, you know, was making a big deal about feuding with Lance Archer or having a problem with Lance Archer, throwing fun at Lance Archer, saying that he wasn't eliminated in that battle royal. But he even showed up at the end of Dynamite when Kenny Omega won the title, very bizarrely said something about Lance Archer and that he wanted Lance Archer, wanted to beat the shit out of Lance Archer. At the end of the show, the very end of the show, it was like a quick 5 seconds. If you blinked, you missed it. If you shut it off, you missed it. But after that, I don't know why this felt so full. It felt rushed. Like that's the match that we'll get. That's the match that we're supposed to get. It was supposed to be Kingston and Archer, and then Kingston and Pac. But I think at this point, I feel you. I'm not even into it anymore.
Yeah, but I do like Butcher and Blade winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I want that. I want them to get that slow build. I mean, I think they have it. Them with Ali. I mean, I could see those guys being tag champions. Period.
Yeah, I said it last week. I feel like in 2021, I think if the cards fall in their favor, I think in 2021 they will hold the AEW tag team titles if everything goes right. That's my prediction.
They are awesome.
Yeah.
They are awesome. The Butcher, the Blade, they complement each other well in their ring styles and everything else. The gimmick is nice, and Ali complements the gimmick itself. I think they are perfect for a heel tag team run. Perfect.
What is not perfect is Abadon. Abadon on the show tonight against a enhancement talent by the name of Tisha Price. Abadon crawled to the ring. She looked like she came out of a fucking graveyard in the residing Jacksonville area. Shivani says he doesn't know what to make of her. So that makes 3 of us, Tony, because Jesse and I don't know what the fuck is going on either. They showed a clip of her scaring Hikaru Shida 2 weeks ago. Shivani says she's not so much afraid of anything, really. She is, well, whatever the fuck she is, I don't know. But he doesn't know what to make of her. Abadon brutalized Price here, punches and kicks, and I don't know what she finished her off with, but it was more like a crucifix, hangman, neckbreaker sort of maneuver. Ross called her a mad woman. They said she was possessed. She wins in 1 minute. But Abadon beat up Price after the match. Shida came out with a kendo stick and eyed her from the stage. She then hit her in the head with the kendo stick and helped Price out of the ring. Abadon went down, Jesse, and then sat up like the Undertaker. Put the women and children to bed, will ya? Said Jim Ross. We were supposed to get Abadon and us being impressed with Abadon this week, Jesse. I was not impressed, and I still stand, as far as my opinion goes, very, very, very small ceiling.
Yeah, man. I mean, look.
I don't get it.
I'm gonna have to praise Abadon
I don't get
here
it.
because I'm gonna have to praise her here. I don't have any more room to shit on any more AEW women, man. I have enough of these women coming after me at this point. I don't need Abadon added to that
like
list.
a mixture of the fucking Fiend and the Undertaker we got.
I mean,
in female form.
Man. I mean, look, I love it. Everything about Abadon is awesome. Please, I don't need Abadon along with Thunder Rosa and the dentist all trying to kill me, man.
Well, listen, where do you go with this, dude? Like, where do you go? Like, how do you book something? Listen, you know, I'm talking about all this like we didn't get the Undertaker for fucking 30 years, but nobody's the Undertaker, okay? And the Undertaker is Vince McMahon's greatest creation. But what do you do if Abadon takes the championship off of Hikaru Shida? What do you do with her? Who beats her? How do you beat her?
Anybody can beat her for all I care. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man.
I don't know. I mean,
look, if I'm saying that I don't understand the gimmick, look,
listen,
so I'm saying
it's
I
different.
don't understand the gimmick. I understand wrestling gimmicks, and that being said, I just don't get this one.
Listen, it's different. You got to give her some points on creativity, and you're not giving a fuck clearly what anybody says, because I don't know who wants to be a pro wrestler, and that's what your vision is of a pro wrestler. She may be fucked up. She may be fucked up in the head. I don't know, but you got to give her some credit. You got to give her some style points, right?
Style. And look, so what I texted you earlier, style. Her appearance in the ring doesn't look right. And look, she needs a different outfit. I mean, I'm not saying change the gimmick. If that's her gimmick, whatever. But the outfit that she wears is not very complimentary to her body type at all.
Listen,
it does not fit.
Listen, man, we got women that have done this the right way. Luna Vachon, off the top of my head, did it right. Okay.
Yes.
For some weird reason, you know, I don't necessarily get Bull Nakano from Abadon, but you know, Bull Nakano had the makeup and the fucking very, you know, outlandish hairdo, and she was a great wrestler. But we got Rosemary. We got Rosemary in Impact. We got Sue Young, who, you know, awesome. I didn't even listen. Sue Young is awesome, but even that is a little too far fetched for me. You know, different dimensions. Whatever the case may be, man. Listen, I'm an old school guy. Every time I see shit like this, I'll find myself entertained by it, but I'm not gonna really sit there and say, oh my god, man, it's gonna be something I'm gonna go back in the annals of time and fucking relive over and over again. It's something for the here and the now that will easily be forgotten. That's just the way. There's no memorable fucking feeling coming out of any of this shit. There really is not.
No, I mean, I get it. What did I texted you last night after watching Impact? I mean, the only thing I took from Impact last night, I mean, outside of the Kenny part, was Rosemary. I think I texted JD. The one thing I texted him was Rosemary. She's ready. She is ready.
She's ready.
You know who?
Rosemary's 37 years old, bro. If they were ready for Rosemary, she would have been. She should have left Impact to go to NXT.
Yeah, you know who else made a gimmick like this work? And you touched on it the other day on OTS, and you were struggling with the name, but Chelsea Green and the Hot Mess, man.
Yes, the Hot Mess. Yes,
the Hot Mess.
Which is another fucking discussion in itself. I don't know how the fuck you book Chelsea Green the way she's booked now, and make her feel like everybody else, and you want to get rid of that. Like that was a standout gimmick.
That was awesome. That was awesome. This is what I mean. So I'm not looking at her outfit and her gimmick, Abadon, and just saying, oh, this looks stupid. I'm telling you, as a wrestling fan who understands wrestling gimmicks, this makes no sense. This gimmick just makes no sense, guys. You got to take my word for it. Vandelli.
Yeah, Vandelli probably had a big O watching Abadon tonight. Good for you, bro.
Get some tissue. Clean up that mess in front of your TV, man. Come on.
Listen, Abadon and Shida is going to be a thing. I'll see where it goes. This was I was looking for something to analyze and dissect, and I got nothing. Abadon wins in 1 minute. After the match, she sat up like the Undertaker, and Shida was scared. Whatever.
Nobody cares about Abadon or Shida, dude.
We got a helicopter arriving on site as Shivani stood in the ring. It landed in the parking lot. Ross says they've made an impact. No pun intended, he said. Omega broke the gentleman's agreement last week that he proposed and agreed to. Omega got out of the helicopter, followed by Don Callis. Jesse, nothing speaks heel than your champion getting out of a fucking helicopter.
Yeah, especially when Don Callis was not in that chopper. You see the camera work they did there?
Yep.
I like that.
Marvez tried to interview him in the parking lot. Callis says he can watch like everyone else and watch what they have to say when they get in the ring. So Justin Roberts did the over-the-top introduction, touting Omega's 12-match winning streak and many other accolades. The cleaner ladies were out there sweeping away. Kenny walked through the heel tunnel, Jesse, which is something that you made mention of to keep an eye on, and he did it. So there's your fucking heel tunnel.
There you go. Done. Now it's official.
Now it's officially 100% confirmed.
Yep.
Callis.
Not by accident. That was by pure design.
Oh, yeah. The Callis situation, he's with Kenny. He's going to be, I believe, Kenny's Heyman in this situation. So we got this thing on Impact last night. Now, I don't know if you guys watched Impact last night. I mean, I was over the fucking show about 20 minutes in when Josh Matthews said Kenny Omega was on the show about 67 fucking times in the opening match. But that's not really why I want to talk about Impact last night. Impact, if Kenny Omega wasn't on the show, man, you wouldn't catch me watching that fucking show in this lifetime or the next lifetime, man. That show sucked.
Yeah,
everything outside the main event, with Rich Swann and Moose and Chris Bay. Listen, Chris Bay, they got their own Kofi Kingston in the making, man. Kofi Kingston, was WWE's big thing last year. Chris Bay reminds me so much, even in look. He looks like he could be related to fucking Kofi Kingston. That's what I got from him last night. They got their own Kofi Kingston and Chris Bay. That's good on them. Hopefully they know what the fuck they're doing. He's way too talented. But outside that match last night, Jesse, I did not give a shit about Dynamite at all. We watched for 2 hours to see what I thought was a fantastic promo by Don Callis and Kenny Omega. And we were promised tonight a follow-up or fallout from that particular promo. New information is what they touted.
Yes.
But we didn't get new information. In fact, it's almost as if Impact kind of fucked you in the end. They tortured you with that fucking show last night to get a 15-minute segment that we all wanted to watch, and the only reason why we watched, and the only reason why their Twitch numbers were up. But we got the same exact fucking promo tonight with absolutely no new information added on what we got from Impact on Tuesday. So
do we know another company that loves to clickbait their fans?
Yes, it's called Michael Cole.
I mean, again, all the signs point to this episode being very Monday Night Raw-ish.
Yeah, we didn't get any new information about anything. About Kenny and Don and why they did this and yada, yada, yada. It was tonight the same fucking promo that we got on Impact. And let me go over what had happened here. They welcomed Kenny and Don, or he did, Shivani. And Callis said hell froze over and all of the paradigms are being broken because he was on Impact Wrestling on Access TV was Kenny Omega. Said people want to know how they cooked this up. He said it wasn't weeks of planning, it was years. He said this same thing on Impact last night. He talked about knowing Kenny since he was 10 years old. It's been a lifetime in the making. He said this on Impact last night. He says he's been watching him and guiding him like an invisible hand. He brought up the Tokyo Dome match against Jericho 3 years ago. He said, without that match, Tony Khan said there would be no AEW. He said this on Impact last night. He said, those who say they stole something, you cannot steal something you created. He said, fans wanted 7-star Kenny Omega, and now you've got him. Omega says he's acted dignified and bided his time as they plotted and planned. Said this on Impact on Tuesday. He said they pulled off their plan successfully. He said none of his accomplishments compared to the AEW title belt. He said last week's match was a 7-star classic, which it was not. But that's Kenny's heel character coming out. He says it was also a performance, fine art, and professional. He said everyone watching fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He got worked up and he took his sunglasses off. He showed the black eye that Moxley gave him. He admitted that he used the microphone, but no one kicks out of the one-winged angel. Callis said, people can't handle it. Don't let these people in on our plans. Callis said, some people make money, other people make matches. Kenny makes history. He said this on Impact on Tuesday. Kenny then did his closing final catchphrase, goodbye, good night, bang. And Omega and Callis left the ring. Now, I love the pairing. I think the pairing is fucking great. Yeah. Callis is just brilliant in my eyes. I think he plays the smug asshole perfectly. He is the type, like Callis is. He knows what he's doing. You know, I don't need to say this. Yeah, yes, he is. I know firsthand. I know personally.
We saw it.
I met the fucking guy at House of Glory, man. Forget about it. The one that was easy to talk with, actually, was Scott D'Amore.
Yeah.
Matthews and Callis, forget about it, man. You thought fucking people were on the... You people think I'm on my high horse. Holy shit. God.
That guy was something else.
Listen, Don Callis knows how good he is. I don't need to sit here and fucking stroke his ego, but he plays the smug prick himself perfectly, and he's the type of guy that you want to see get his ass kicked, and that's the type of role he's going for here. And Kenny is the type of heel that he's going for here, especially on American soil. He's going to be the type of heel that you want to see him get his fucking ass beat. But it's going to be a long run. Get ready for it. I just don't like the fact that we had to sit through Impact, and Impact knew AEW was watching, AEW fans were watching that show last night. The only thing, Jesse, I could possibly come up with as far as why they did 90% rehash on what they talked about on Tuesday is either two things. One, the ratings came in, and they were not pleased with the amount of people watching the show. They expected a bigger number, and they didn't get it. And two, they knew many people weren't going to go out and watch Impact and just wait for Kenny to show up on Dynamite. And maybe they thought the promo that was going to air on Tuesday was going to air on Wednesday, so why do I got to go out of my way and watch Access? Maybe they don't get Access if AEW on Wednesday is going to show it on TNT. So maybe that's why they rehashed it, because many people didn't get it when it was supposed to happen. I don't know.
No, it's not acceptable because the promo was short enough. They just could have reran it. They could have ran a replay and then gave us the new information that they promised us last night. They didn't have to just... They gave us about 85-90% of last night's promo, and the rest of it was nothing new. So that's why I'm sitting here like we just got clickbaited. Like, where's the new information? What's the next bombshell?
I don't know. I don't know. As far as what we've seen on Impact, I enjoyed it, but 40,000 people watching it on Twitch. I don't know what their ratings usually are. Maybe they wanted to get it into that 1 million range, because I figured AEW would break 1 million tonight, and they just wanted to rehash what they said last night in front of a much larger audience. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I was in there. I started engaging with a couple of the regulars just to see what the vibe was normally like, and quite a few people confirmed that the 40 at the time that I checked, which was about maybe a good 45 minutes into the show, they said it was about 43,000 live viewers, and a lot of the regs said that was already about 8 to 9 times more than the normal night.
Well, that's good for them. I was on Twitch just out of curiosity because I remember you told me that, and tonight they had maybe 130 people watching whatever they were showing on Twitch.
Yeah.
So, listen, Kenny and Callis, they're going to be a great pairing, and I'm very excited to see where this title reign goes. Obviously, Omega and Moxley is not done by a long shot. I assume that they still get this match to happen at Revolution. We know Kenny's not losing that title. Kenny on Impact made mention of him wanting to make history, and he was talking about himself collecting comic books, and it was in a way in which, he collects comic books, but he doesn't collect them anymore. He's collecting other things. And it almost came off, Jesse, that he's collecting trophies almost as far as his wrestling career goes, whether that is, wrestling individual superstars that he's never wrestled before, or collecting championships that he's never had before. What if Kenny Omega goes to challenge Rich Swann and wins the Impact World Championship? What if Kenny Omega goes to Mexico and wins their World Championship, or whatever the case may be? we may be looking at Kenny Omega hold 3 or 4 different world championships. But what if he beats Nick Aldis for the NWA championship? He could be looking at 3 or 4 different world championships, and we could really solidify this reign as being one of the greatest ever.
And who is New Japan's world champion?
That I don't know. That's for the chat to talk about. I don't watch New Japan. I'm in America.
Here's a hint. Here's a hint. He's got really close ties with Kenny Omega.
Okada's the champion again?
Ibushi, dude.
Oh, Ibushi. There you go.
Yep. Golden lovers.
There you go. Maybe there's a working relationship with New Japan somewhere in the down the line in 2021, and we get Ibushi on fucking AEW television.
I have a hard time to believe that Kenny is champion here, Kota Ibushi is champion there, and
or Naito. I thought Naito was the champion. Naito, who gives a shit? Naito, they all have history with Omega. It doesn't give a fuck who it is.
Nah, I thought it was Ibushi.
I don't know. They all have history with Omega one way or another. Ibushi, Omega, Okada, whatever. Naito, Tanahashi, they all got history. Who gives a shit? It is what it is.
Maybe it is Naito. I thought it was Ibushi.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though. Yeah.
But they get so much stuff lined up with Kenny as champion though, even with Naito.
The one thing I didn't like about last night is the way they made Rich Swann look like a complete fucking bitch. They wouldn't let their own world champion into the fucking parking lot because Kenny Omega and Don Callis had the entire parking lot closed off. This is your Impact World Champion. You should be treating him like a fucking crown jewel. And you wouldn't let him into the fucking parking lot. If I was Rich Swann, I would have kicked that guy right between the fucking legs. Kicked him in the nutsack. Listen, man, I'm the world fucking champion. I'm parked outside. I don't give a fuck who's here. It's not even with the goddamn promotion. Anyway.
Awesome.
Anyway. It is what it is, man. I like it. I like what they did on Impact last night. I didn't. Was it worth 2 hours for me to stay up and watch that shit? Absolutely fucking not. Seriously. There was nothing on that show that was remotely entertaining outside that. And they just rehashed 90% of what we've seen on Impact the night before. Finally, guys, we got AEW running down next week's show. We got Private Party, Matt Hardy versus Page, Silver, and Reynolds. The Acclaim versus Daniels and Kazarian. Ivelisse and Diamante versus Big Swole and Serena Deeb. Also, the December 23rd episode would air after the end of the Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics game. I don't know what time that is. Then, the December 30th and January 6th show are going to have a New Year's Smash theme. On the December 30th show, Jericho's going to be on commentary. And get this, Jesse, December 30th is going to have Snoop Dogg on commentary, I believe.
You know why? Because he was a hit at that damn Tyson fight.
There you go.
And I heard WWE Shop already took his shit off their website, too.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe Sasha Banks is getting new theme music now.
Yeah.
These
guys are so petty.
It is what it is, man. Finally, guys, Orange Cassidy versus MJF. This was for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And this was a clusterfuck if I ever saw one, man. But Cassidy, the story in this match was MJF attacked the fingers. And he attacked the fingers because MJF is brilliant. Without the fingers and without his hand, he won't be able to throw the orange punch. So that is exactly what the story was. Cassidy was being worked over. At one point, he flipped dove over the ropes outside to the inner circle and dove on to all the inner circle. They were outside there cheering on MJF. This prompted the baby faces on the opposite side to kind of stand behind the best friends and back Orange Cassidy. We've seen Brian Pillman out there. We've seen a bunch of fucking bums from the AEW bottom of the barrel roster out there. I don't know what was going on. This turned into almost an impromptu lumberjack match. Cassidy fled when Jericho picked up his baseball bat to go after Cassidy. Like I said, this turned into an impromptu lumberjack match. We got Griff Garrison, like I said, Brian Pillman at ringside. Cassidy hit beach break on MJF for a near fall. MJF went for a salt of the earth. Cassidy broke free and landed an orange punch for a near fall. He landed a second orange punch, but Wardlow put MJF's leg on the bottom rope. And then everybody at ringside, outside the ring, started to brawl. As the ref was preoccupied with all of this shit, Miro came out and he clotheslined Cassidy, Kip Sabian joined him on the stage. He didn't really do much of anything. Miro was an absolute fucking savage here. MJF draped his arm over Cassidy because Miro almost took his head off with a clothesline. And MJF got the 1-2-3 on Orange Cassidy. After the match, the best friends brawled with Sabian and Miro on the stage. Miro punched a security guy who tried to break things up. He took this poor guy and fucking committed murder live on TNT tonight on Dynamite. Threw this guy from the stage onto the floor down below, onto the concrete floor below. I don't know if the guy's all right. Commentary sold the shit out of that. Like I said, you got to go back and watch it. He absolutely destroyed this poor guy. And I believe Jim Ross was saying, it's Christmas and these guys have families. What's wrong with these men? I hope that man's family wasn't watching. So Miro posed on stage. MJF then claimed to the ringside camera, I beat him clean. I beat him smack dab in the middle of the ring. And that's the way Dynamite went off the air. Miro. What do you think of Miro's presentation tonight, Jesse? I think Tony Khan is listening to the backlash on the community. We want to see a little bit more serious Miro. We want to see him away from this video game Kip Sabian bullshit. Now, this is 2 weeks in a row we've seen Miro a little dominant on Dynamite. The Battle Royal where he looked a little too intimidating in that ring, eliminating a couple of guys, having a nice stare down with Wardlow, doing his thing, and tonight, almost committing murder. So it looks like Tony Khan's probably getting the clue. Maybe I should start booking this guy a little bit better.
Yeah, all right. I like this is better. Miro was spiraling out of control, man. And I was ready. I'm still kind of ready to blame the pairing with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, but this was a good comeback spot for him in his AEW career. I think he might be getting some kind of heat in the back about how his wife is more over than he is, and I think Tony Khan got wind of that, and I think Miro's on the comeback right now. I think we might see another version of the original Rusev run that came out on the fucking tank. We might be seeing a version of that in AEW now.
Well, listen, Tony Khan has taken some heat for this. He was asked after the Winter is Coming special last week on a conference call or a media call. He said this about Miro. He said, Miro's going to be a big star here. And then Tony Khan noted, showing his confidence in Miro, he added that he didn't want to wait until the new year to bring Miro in, but he put Miro, with Kip Sabian. But bringing him in after the new year, he said would be a little bit of a disadvantage. And Tony Khan explained this. He said it's really hard for people to come into AEW when you have a ranking system unless they come in at the start of a new cycle. But that's not the only thing that was holding AEW back from pushing Miro to the moon. He wants to push Miro. He says this. He discussed how much AEW had to overcome with the garbage booking WWE did of Miro prior to his departure. He said this, and I quote, I thought he got beaten down so bad. I saw some jackass on Twitter was like, this guy drove a tank at WrestleMania and now he's doing this. And I was like, yeah. Then he got kicked in the nuts and they treated him like shit for years. He drove a tank out for 5 years, but that's not the guy I signed. Essentially, it sounds like AEW has plans to completely start from scratch with Miro, realizing, Tony Khan anyway, realizing that he got damaged goods and that there is actually a star underneath all the fucking terrible booking that WWE has given this guy for 5 years. Tony Khan added and finally said, the guy I signed has been abused for years and he's being rebuilt. He's going to be a huge star in wrestling, and he is a huge star. He's a huge name in wrestling, but he wasn't treated like it for a very long time. End quote. What do you think about that? And man, did Tony Khan nail that fucking right on the head.
Yeah, I don't like that interview. This is my first time hearing about it. I don't like the response to that interview. I'll tell you why. Because it feels like Tony is he's selling Vince McMahon's petty booking too much. I don't want Vince McMahon to hear, see, it works. So we should continue to bury our talent on the way out to screw him over on the next one. I would rather hear, it doesn't matter to me what he did with Rusev at the end of his career. I'm going to make Miro a big star, on our timeline. I don't like him selling the fact that Vince's shitty booking is slowing down Miro's career. Even if it is, I just don't put it out there like that.
I get what you're saying in a way that it's almost as if Tony Khan knows he's fucking up and he's blaming Vince McMahon for whatever's going on with Miro now, which is not the case because you have it in the power of whatever you do to bring him on in and fucking immediately push this guy to the moon, which you didn't do. So it comes off in a way that Tony Khan knows he's fucking up with Miro and he's just kind of trying to find a way to deflect all of that negativity on Vince McMahon and the booking. We know that's the case, but don't use that as the excuse. Has anybody else come in from WWE that had that type of booking and has felt so fucking piss poor almost upon arrival? I don't think so. That wasn't the case with Brody Lee. That wasn't the case with Spears. Well, I mean, he got a match with Cody, so no. It wasn't the case with who else was it? Pac. Pac was a WWE. We all realize how great Pac was, and he got booked like shit. He comes in, he's immediately fucking a megastar.
They tried to put him in a Mighty Mouse costume. Yeah. I just look. I hate hearing that because I hate for Vince to continue doing this. I would rather Tony just push everyone that Vince intentionally buries, and then have Vince be like, okay, you know what? Forget this shit. All right, just let them go when they go, whatever. It's just so petty. I just hate to see anybody putting over any of this shit that he's doing with people on the way out, just because he's like a 75-year-old 10-year-old. It's
how could I forget Jacob in the chat? John Moxley, the guy was fucking a piss poor version of a Batman villain, fucking playing Bane before he left WWE. FTR was having their back shaved by the Usos. That's
a good point. How in the hell is it impossible to rebuild Miro, or it takes too long to rebuild Miro, and John Moxley is the top star in the entire?
Yeah, man, it's something that I understand that Tony Khan is trying to say a certain thing and kind of make Miro out to be a star, but I feel like he's definitely deflecting the piss poor job that he's done so far and blaming it on Vince. We all know Vince is a fuck up. You don't need to use that as an excuse for what you're doing wrong here.
And I don't even think Tony's doing anything wrong per se. I don't think him being with Kip isn't doing him any favors, but it seems like Miro just falling under the, when it's your time. Everybody has to wait their time. There's only 1 2-hour show on TV, and he has a locker room full of guys who could be in the main event if pushed right. Yeah. Everybody can't be there. Yeah. In time.
Anyway, guys, I got one last piece of information here. I forgot to mention it. We talked about Sting. We talked about, all of the upcoming plans for AEW. Tony Khan says he's got a bunch of aces up his sleeve. We mentioned CM Punk. Jesse and I both agree that Punk is imminent in the next year or so. We just feel it in our bones. Another person people are talking about now is Tessa Blanchard, and I forgot to mention this during the women's segment of the show tonight, but Blanchard, obviously with Sting coming on in, has gotten a lot of traction because obviously AEW needs a top female, and with Sting coming in, a lot of people are wondering who is next for Tony Khan on the list of free agents. Blanchard did not wrestle from mid-March through September. There had been rumblings about WWE being interested in signing her, but nothing has materialized yet. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that as things stand right now, AEW is not going to be her destination. Now, Meltzer's not gospel. Everything that Meltzer reports is not accurate or correct. AEW, yes, they are very friendly, or the higher-ups are very friendly with Dave Meltzer. His name has been mentioned on the show. He's very good friends with Omega and Punk and the Bucks, whoever the case may be. Who's to say that they're not holding or withholding information from Dave Meltzer just so that it is a surprise when it actually does happen? I'm not saying that she's not going to end up in AEW. She could very well end up in AEW, but who's to say that they're not feeding Meltzer some false information as well? But Meltzer noted that based on what he was told, when her name came up, those in AEW wouldn't deny her talent, which from that standpoint would be very valuable. However, the decision was made to not pursue her. According to Fightful, Blanchard and Daga are actually in the Northeast right now, preparing for a signing. Where that means they're signing, it leaves only one fucking guess. I'll leave it up to you guys. They are not currently in Mexico. That doesn't change their contract status. It was said that there have been feelers sent out, but no serious inquiries yet. So we'll have to remain patient to see where Blanchard and Daga Inc. deals Now, according to Wrestling Inc., they actually go against Feifel's report. Blanchard has not been signed or has not signed a new contract with another wrestling promotion because she's still celebrating her recent marriage. Fightful said they're not in Mexico, but Wrestling Inc. says that they are in Mexico celebrating their recent marriage. Again, WWE is probably her likely destination. What do you make of this, Jesse? Do you think she ends up in NXT like I think she does, or does Tony Khan have that ace up his sleeve and he's just waiting for the proper time to unleash that one?
No, I'm just going to think logistically here. And we know how Tony Khan does not like dealing with the pressure of social media and his decisions and what goes on in his company.
Yeah.
Now, we know another company that does not give two shits about the fans and what they think about their company, and I think she's going to wind up with that company. I can't see Tony Khan taking on a known heat magnet and just saying, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. It does not seem very Tony Khan-ish. I mean, I could see him saying that's just heat we just don't need to be dealing with right now. And the second he signs her and puts her on television, that's exactly the flames he's going to be putting out, is the Tessa Blanchard situation. And do you want that overshadowing your whole division? He's not going to sign her, bring her in. She makes everything better, and then the division's great. He's gonna sign her, bring her in, and he's got to put out flames and answer questions and deal with this and deal with that. In the meantime, people are just asking questions about why he signed her and not watching the women wrestle. Well, I don't think it's worth it.
Listen, another thing to add on top of that before we get into the super chats is if AEW has a working relationship with Impact Wrestling, and Impact and Tessa had a very rocky ending to their relationship. She just didn't want to come to work. She was their world champion. They had issues getting the world championship back from her. Is that somebody that Tony Khan wants to hire just based on his working relationship now in whatever capacity it is in with Impact Wrestling? Maybe Impact doesn't want to work with Tessa, and Tony's not going to sign her based on the obvious upside of working with Impact. I don't know what upside it is for AEW. It's more of an upside for Impact Wrestling. But I feel like that's a big defining factor. And if she comes or if she doesn't come, their relationship with Impact.
Yeah, it's a big conflict of interest. It really is a conflict of interest. I just thought about that. That's a good point. With their new relationship and everything else. And plus, I mean, it was rumored that she didn't want to do business the right way on the way out. Mm-hmm. That does not look good when you're trying to get back in bed with somebody who is doing business with the company that you were not doing business with the right way. So I think that's a good point. That's another reason why I don't think she's going to show up in AEW.
Yeah, well, listen, Tessa in NXT, I mean, I just think it makes more sense. I mean, she is going to be a big fish in a big pond. Show me how good you are. You got the best women's division in the entire world, really, in that promotion. That's where you should end up. I'll say it once, and I say it every single time. If Tessa comes to AEW, what exactly is there for her to do? Nothing. Beat Sheeta, and that's it. If she goes to NXT, you got Ember, you got Tony, you got Io, you got Charlotte, you got Raquel, you got Dakota, you got Candice.
She is Charlotte food.
Sasha. Yes, she's Charlotte food, yes. Everybody's Charlotte
food.
Everybody's Charlotte food. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me, man. Sorry about the couple of hiccups tonight. We had technical difficulties. Don't know what the fuck happened. But thank God that's all rectified, because if I did not realize that, everything else after tonight would have been fucked up. And then thank you guys.
Cyberpunk times, motherfuckers.
And thank you guys for hanging out, like I said. Sorry about the OBS crashing again. I don't know if it's the internet where I am or if it's just OBS, but thank God everything's stabilized. So you guys are great for sticking with me and making us number one tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast and all the talking points tonight. Quickly, let's go over these super chats. If you want to hang out, we'd love to have you. If not, I'll see you guys back on Friday. I'll be back here for SmackDown and the post show live on YouTube, man. Let's get into these super chats. The Dud with a $5 super chat. I'm wasting more money because of this. Anyways, Shaq is AEW's Pat McAfee, and Omega and Callis is greater than Roman and Heyman. Give them time, bro. You're not going to be better than Roman and Heyman after one shitty episode of Impact and one episode of Dynamite. Come on now.
Yeah, true.
Come on. And Pat McAfee did nothing to NXT's ratings, and neither will Shaquille O'Neal.
No.
Anthony Bayless with a $15 super chat. He's here. We are live now, man. Greatest in the IWC. I enjoyed this show, but Shaq, we all know why he's in AEW. Hopefully just to be a face and not an in-ring talent. Hopefully. Hopefully, man. Thank you for the $15, Anthony. I appreciate you, brother. Man of 100, actually not man of 100. I'm shortchanging him here. Man of 1,005 holds with a 99-cent super chat. Leaves a 100 emoji. Thank you, man. Chemo, $5 super chat. On AEW Dark, Dustin Rhodes took a shot on Adam Cole. And this was on Britt Baker's talk show about match of the year. Gotta watch Dark JD. Do you know anything about that, Jesse?
Nah, I missed Dark this week.
Or did you miss Britt Baker this week?
I didn't know she was on, but I'm glad I missed Dark this week.
There you go. Look, I go for him for information about this important topic, and I got nothing.
My dark time this week was spent on Impact. I can't add a show and then keep watching shows. I have no life, but I do have kids. Come on, man.
There you go. I'll give you that one. Pedro W with a $10 Canadian super chat. Hey, JD, much respect to both of you. I respect you not just for your great analysis, but most of all, because you're a self-made man, loved or hated, you're always genuine. And that will always be the case, Pedro. Appreciate that, man. I love that comment. Thank you so much, brother. Matt Eagle with a $199 super chat. If Omega Punk actually happens, take my money, AEW, bro. It'll be the biggest match in wrestling in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Julian with a $2 super chat. Thoughts on Jim Cornette crapping on AEW each week? Fuck Jim Cornette. I don't give a shit. Francis Loop with a $10 super chat. Actually, the War Games match was an NWA concept started at the Great American Bash in 1987 featuring Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, and the Road Warriors versus the Four Horsemen and J.J. Dillon. War Games 1992 best. Sorry! My encyclopedia friend, Francis Loop. I'm sorry, bro. It won't happen again, bro.
It was still Dusty's match, though, wasn't it?
I think so. That's why WWE is doing it.
Still Dusty's match.
That's why WWE kept the name away from Cody. Why? Because it's a Dusty concept. Dud with a $2 super chat. Can you do an AEW OTS Is This What You Want intro? I will be working on that in the new year, Dud. Me and Hodge are going to get together. We got some big things planned. Julian, $2 super chat. Who would win? Omega versus Orton in his prime? Omega. Francis Loop, $10 super chat. Hey, JD and Jesse, do you think Rikishi and Roman Reigns' brother competed in the War Games? And can you tell me which one? And which War Games in the 90s contains 7 Hall of Famers? And who are they? Bro, listen, it's 12:45 in the AM, man. Oh my God, Francis Loop, brother, what are you doing to me, man? I love you, man. I appreciate you being here, but you can't unleash those types of questions on me, bro. I never watched WCW back in the day. I was always the WWE kid growing up. You asking me about fucking War Games.
I watched WCW and I still don't know that shit.
Jesus Christ. Francis Loop with another $5 super chat. Dark was 2 hours and 16 minutes, 16 matches, and 5 women's matches. Women's matches are coming along, but they need coaches, bookers, and direction. You said it, I didn't, man. We talk about it every week. Anthony Bayless with a $5 super chat. I'm glad the Inner Circle did not have anyone get booted from the group, but the thing with Hager and Wardlow was one of the best segments. I thought it was fantastic. Francis Loop with a $10 super chat. Man, thank you for this fucking super chat tonight, Francis. Answers. He answered himself anyway. This fucking guy. Samoan SWAT team competed on the Bash 89. Wrestler War 92 had Sting, Ricky Steamboat, Barry Windham, Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Larry Zbyszko, and Arn Anderson as the 7 Hall of Famers in that match.
Wow.
You learn something new every day, man. Thank you to Francis Loop. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information, but I'm glad I now retain that information uphill in the steel track, okay?
There you go.
Israel with a $20 bomb, man. There you go, JD. You never let me down, even though you had a little glitch for a minute. But I did end up watching a bit of Tony Schiavone's post show, and guess who showed up? Sammy Guevara surprised Tony. You are the best, man. Yeah, that last podcast that we went live with deleted. It never happened, bro. It never happened. Usually I strive to be perfect every time, man, but 99.9% of the time, and there's always that little minuscule fucking number where something don't go right. All is fixed, though. The Dud, $2 super chat. Would you like Kelly Klein on NXT or AEW? I don't know what Kelly Klein would offer anybody. I'm not even familiar with her work. Who cares?
You leave her on dark.
Leave her on dark, yeah. My boy Edgar Estrada, $20 bomb. Great show, but I'll agree it felt a bit rushed. Lance Archer runs faster than Braun Strowman. LOL. Hoot versus Jesse. Jesse's PS5 on a pole match. Britt as the special ref. Thunder Rosa interferes, and Hoot wins the PS5. Book it, JD. All right, what do you think about that, bro? Is that good creative?
Britt Baker will botch the referee spot. Thunder Rosa won't sell anything, and Hoot will fall asleep. Next.
Edgar, Hoot doesn't need a PS5. They already have one. The Dud, $2 super chat. AEW even did their own ad on Impact last night. Yeah. I was so bored with the fucking show, I didn't really even acknowledge it.
That was a pretty funny ad.
Yeah.
That was a pretty funny ad. That was the best part of the show for me, was that ad with the two Tonys.
Jose with a $5 super chat. JD, I think Kenny repeated his promo because they thought no one watched Impact. They may be correct, man. That's exactly the reason I gave. Who watches Impact? Man, they got some fucking elitist fans over there, man. Let me tell you, so I had to block a couple of people. I didn't even use anything in regards to Impact. I didn't tweet anything about Impact except the Kenny Omega thing. I had these elitists coming at me. I'm like, holy shit, man. They're not even following me, looking up Impact hashtags and whatnot. Give me a break. Ryan Awesome with a $4.99 super chat. Who would win on the mic between MJF and Eddie Kingston?
Kingston.
Flip a fucking coin, man. The Dud. You know who would win? Us. There you go. The Dud with a $2 super chat. Who is better, Britt Baker or Charlotte Flair?
Charlotte.
I'm going to take Bay.
Yeah, okay.
Francis Loop with a $20 bomb. This guy, man. Thank you, Francis. It seems predictable that it would be Jericho or Sammy G that gets kicked out of the Inner Circle. After the Unrestricted podcast with Wardlow, he came off as a legit main eventer. Wonder if AEW has big, athletic baby faces. Wardlow's going to be a big deal. But you need to be very patient with that. We got Paul Van Tassel with a $1 super chat. Thank you, man. Phil with a $9.99 super chat. Is it me, or does the Varsity Blondes seem like a created tag team from WWE 2K like Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode? Do you think there are too many tag teams in this division? I'd really like your thoughts on this. Jesse, I'll let you handle that one, man. Too many tag teams, and do they come off like Ziggler and Bobby Roode, the Varsity Blondes?
I wouldn't get too attached to the Varsity Blondes as far as being like another tag team to deal with. They are paired together and they're labeled as a tag team, but look, it's not like we're about to get the Varsity Blondes, in a tag team title match and been a push anytime soon. As far as too many tag teams, I don't know if you really can have too many tag teams because you can always put someone in a singles match, but when you try to throw together a tag team and put them in a tag team situation, they don't fit. It doesn't fit, but you can always pull somebody out of a tag team if they're over enough and put them in a singles run. You do the vice versa and you're just throwing shit together. So I don't think you can have too many tag teams, especially when you get trios titles coming soon too. Then you can also easily make trios teams as well.
They got too many tag teams in AEW. Maybe somebody should tell WWE that.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing at all.
Not a bad thing, man. And form them, do something with them, and all of the above, because then when you need a tag team, you didn't just make one up. They had established records and everything else. But
yeah, like Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, perfect tag team together, right?
Yeah.
But look at the Lucha Brothers, established tag team and everything else. But is anybody gonna bat an eye when we get Ray Phoenix versus Jon Moxley for the title? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it works. So
Paul Van Tassel would have. What was that last thing, Jesse?
You can't have too many tag teams, man.
No, I don't find that's a good thing to have. Paul Van Tassel with a $5 super chat. Big fan of the show. I haven't since Bronson Reed since NXT TakeOver SummerSlam weekend. Do you think, or what do you think is going on with him? I don't know, man. Maybe he just refuses to work because of COVID. I have no fucking idea. Or maybe it's really NXT and their plans shitting the bed like the main roster. They push somebody and then they forget about them for 4 months. I don't know.
They forget about the thick boy? I haven't watched NXT in a while.
Well, I don't blame you.
Yeah. They forgot about the thick boy over there?
How could they? Bronson Reed's awesome.
He's awesome, man.
Ulysses Smith with a $20 super chat. What's up, JD and Jesse? It's been a while. I may be wrong about this, but I'm going to confidently predict Dynamite will move to Mondays in 2022 or 2023, I believe. Raw is so hard that prediction can't be too far-fetched. It really is not, but you don't want to test the waters because we don't want to give Monday Night Raw any credit for beating Dynamite because they're terrible and they should remain terrible, and Dynamite should wait on that.
No, Dynamite stays. Dynamite stays where it is. I mean, they're going to own Wednesday nights.
Yep.
They're going to launch another show. We don't know where that show is going, but if Tony feels feisty and, who knows, he might just decide to throw him up against SmackDown on Friday or maybe even a Raw on Monday.
Yep.
See.
Edgar Estrada with a $10 super chat on top of his 20 before. Killer Miro was some brilliant booking. The Battle Royal gave us a glimpse of what's to come. Great review as always. Jesse, enjoy Cyberpunk, you goon. Much love, OTS fam, and have a great night. OTS for life, Wood. Yes. Thank you, Edgar. Wood.
Thank you very much.
Kevin Dunn-Wood is going to have a nice time in Tropicana Field with them fucking pigeons in the outfield. Can't wait. I'd love to see a pigeon shit all over fucking Baron Corbin, man. I'm waiting for it. Friday night, man, we get Tropicana Field, Thunderdome, man. Should be interesting. Ulysses Smith with a $10 super chat. By the way, JD, I can see why Toni Storm is your favorite. She be looking thicker than a giant-size Snicker, LOL. That's for Juice Robinson to confirm, bro, and I have nothing to do with that. On a serious note, NXT sucked tonight, but Cross made a surprise return. It sucks. NXT sucks now. Cross is back. Great.
Why do people do that? If I'm sitting here trying to get through this review, and I'm not anymore because I don't watch NXT anymore, or if anybody else is trying to get through this review to go watch NXT, why do you people feel compelled to come on here and spoil it for everybody?
I don't know, man. Listen.
Why do you guys do that? I don't get
You
that.
fucked up, Ulysses. Now Jesse's angry.
I mean, we know where to find NXT, man. We get it. You're not here to break news to us. We're here to break news to you.
Zion with a 199, Jesse. Look at his comment. Karrion Kross returned, JD.
This fucking guy. I wasn't gonna look. I'm not mad because I was not gonna watch NXT tonight, and I'm still not going to. I'm going to play Cyberpunk. I'm probably not gonna watch this week.
And Envied with a $2.99 super chat with Tessa benefit in AEW NXT. Bro, we talked about this already. NXT. Tessa in NXT is the right decision.
NXT.
NXT.
I don't even think she needs NXT. They can put her on the main roster and just throw her.
Just feed her to Charlotte Flair. Who gives a fuck?
Feed her to Charlotte. Feed her to Charlotte.
Please, just get it over with already.
Yeah. Charlotte's
maybe
hungry,
we'll see
dude.
fucking Charlotte and Andrade versus Daga and Tessa, man. Maybe he'll get buried along with his wife. Who the fuck knows?
Oh yeah, you never addressed that sex. You gonna put it in OTS or something, man, or what?
Yeah, yes, it's in the notes. Don't worry.
All right.
Listen.
All right.
We're getting out of here, guys. Again, thank you for hanging out with us tonight, minus the 2 small hiccups. I promise it won't happen again next week. But thank you guys so much for joining us on the show tonight, man. Hit that thumbs up. Greatly helps out the podcast when you do. Let's try for 750 before we get out of here. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. I'll be back live on Friday for the post show on SmackDown. Off the Script is coming this weekend. I'll be on Twitch tomorrow, usual time. Make sure you guys tune into that. And make sure you guys sponsor or check out the sponsor of the show, Dr. Squash, drsquash.com. And that is code SCRIPT at checkout for 20% off, man. Jesse and I are getting in the Mustang. I'm looking at it right there outside my office window. Might be a little chilly for the windows being down, but we'll keep them up tonight, man. It's like 20 degrees outside.
Yo, fuck that Mustang. I got a PS5.
Listen, turn your fucking volumes up, man. Pilot's about to come on with his guitar solo. Jesse's going to play some cyberpunk, man. Let me see those guitar emojis in the chat, and I'll see you guys next week on AEW Dynamite right here on the post show, man. See you guys later.